in that game.
And also we mentioned that each of these teams right now, and there's a look at what Massillon did to get here, each of these teams looking to win their first ever state championship. We'll be back with more and the kickoff for tonight's game in just a moment. Ready to get it started. Massillon will kick off to St. Xavier. Each of these teams looking for their first ever state title. The fourth trip for St. Xavier, their first since 2001. For Massillon, their third appearance and their first since 1982. Steve Schott for the Tigers. Will kick it off. Chris Cionni for St. Xavier. Fields the kickoff, and Chris Cionni with some room beyond the 30. Cionni gets near midfield, and Cionni is taken down. St. Xavier with great starting position on a 40-yard kick-off return by Chris Cionni, a senior and a second-generation St. Xavier bomber, stopped by Darian McGuire.
Wow, what a way to start the game. Kind of a short kickoff there. Cionni did a good job of catching it and taking it up the field. Here's a look at the starting lineups for the Bombers from the Greater Cincinnati League. Brad Scherer will pull the trigger. We'll talk about some of these young men as the night goes on. Some all-state performers. And Brad Scherer, a senior. St. Xavier, not really a team that throws the ball an awful lot, but they will on first down. And Scherer overthrows his intended receiver. He chucked that for Seth Robinson, the tight end. Scherer on the year completed 48% of his passes for 1,017 yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Yeah, that time he had rolled out to his right there. He had big number 77, Wes Schroeder, the guard, pulling out kind of as a personal protector, but had the receiver open. Seth Robinson down the field, just clearly overthrew that one. So 2nd and 10 for the Bombers of head coach Steve Schott in his second year, a former St. Xavier player himself. And Scherer to Darius Ashley, an impressive sophomore tight end. Gets the ball into Tiger territory, but is finally taken down. As the running's going to be a little tough against this inspired Massillon defense. I tell you what, Ashley's the guy that we're going to be calling his name a lot. Only a sophomore, Paul, 5'9", 170 pounds. He's got great elusiveness and can take a big hit. Here's a look at the Massillon defense. And some names again we'll talk a lot about. Paris McCall and Troy Ellis, a dangerous returner. Meanwhile, St. Xavier 3rd and 5. With the ball at Massillon's 46. Shotgun. And now motion by Ashley, who will come wide to the bottom of your screen. And on 3rd down, the Bombers look to convert. There's a flag now. Scherer trying to buy time. And they're going to blow it dead. He finally got thrown down, and a penalty flag will be thrown. Now, probably because of all of the noise, Antonio James couldn't hear that the whistle was blown, Jim. Yeah, I agree. There was a lot of noise. The officials came in, stopped it. James being a little bit aggressive. Coaches now are trying to get him pulled back and settled down. That's going to happen early in the ball game. Both these teams fired up.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty remains. 3rd down.
And a dead ball personal foul against Massillon is what Tom Graham, the official, the referee, is telling us about. So when you figure it all out, St. Xavier's going to get, I believe, a 1st down out of the mix, Jim. Yeah, it goes from a 3rd and 5 situation, which could have been actually a 3rd and 10 if they would have went backwards. So I guess they'll take him back 5 and then forward 15. Is that right, Paul? That's the way it looks. They're going to meet that justice out. So Tom Stacy's team had a pretty good play, sniffed out defensively, but then again, Antonio James. And we'll give the young man credit. It is pretty loud here, Jim. He may not have heard the whistle. Did not hear it. The officials got to do a better job protecting that quarterback there. They did their best. James is just playing what he thought was a live quarterback and took the hit. So 1st down for St. Xavier at the 36 of Massillon. Brad Scherer, only 3 for 9 passing last week against Hilliard Davidson. And now Scherer, as he eyes the defense, looks like he's going to call an audible. Crowd doing their part. Darius Ashley gets hemmed in right around the 36-yard line of Massillon. Darius Ashley, he found nowhere to go, and Robert Morris, one of the defenders in there. We'll see him both on offense and defense for Massillon. Well, you mentioned St. Xavier only throwing 9 times last week. They don't like to throw a lot. And you see some of Ashley's number, 25 TDs for the year. Yeah, you got a guy like that who's averaging 6.5 yards per carry. You're going to feed it to him. They're averaging 222 yards on the ground, just 78 in the air. So they like to throw the ball almost 3 to 1. 2nd and 10. for the Bombers from the 36 of the Tigers. Nice play fake, but trouble for Brad Scherer, and he eludes some of it. And Scherer with a big seam. First down and more. And Scherer gets inside of the 5-yard line, where finally Massillon gets him chased out. And that was a 28-yard run. Brad Scherer, as he's able to tear downfield Mike Perini. Finally, it looked like it was Perini and Paris McCall who closed the field down on him.
Oh, it's exactly the same play. They opened the ball game and they rolled to the right. Then they had Wes Schroeder again, number 77, pulling out. Had some guy coming inside, and he had to readjust. There you see some of the season numbers throwing the football. 90 attempts, just 463 yards, and only 2 TDs. But they're throwing the ball a couple times here already on this drive. Good job there making adjustment. He looked like he was going to get in the sack. Turned around, ran the left, picked up 27 yards.
So it'll be first and goal for St. Xavier at the 9 of Massillon.
Must have stepped out of bounds, huh?
Yeah, must have. They marked it a little further back. Darius Ashley. Defense has him pinned in a little. And Ashley fights his way up to around the 6-yard line before Massillon's able to get the play made by corner Troy Ellis, a senior and a second-team All-State performer.
Well, Ashley's showing a little bit of speed there, trying to go out wide. He thought about ducking it in early, and then he decided to hold it up and tried to go wait and turn the corner, and that's when the speed of Massillon caught him, but he still picked up a hard 3.
This possession started off the opening kickoff. St. Xavier got near midfield, and then a penalty got him a first down. They're now facing, it'll be second and goal with the ball spotted around the 7-yard line. Hobson, Ashley, I formation. Now you see Jimmy Hobson, the fullback, shifting strong to the left. Darius Ashley once again with the call, and he's in trouble, and he is taken down. And it is Lorenzo Grizzard, the senior nose tackle, that brings Darius Ashley down.
Grizzard's got a lot of quickness inside. 6 foot, 230 pounders. Got 31 tackles for the year. Oh, one interesting stat on him. He's got 1 interception for a TD.
Yes, he does. So it'll be third and goal now for St. Xavier.
Well, he lost some yards on that play.
Backed up to the 12-yard line. 9.5 to play here in the first quarter. So the Bombers looking to convert on third. Hobson alone in the backfield. 3 receivers, one of them Darius Ashley. And Brad Scherer off a play fake, looking to toss. And Scherer in trouble. And taken down around the 20-yard line is Scherer. Looked like that was Dirk Dickerhoof, defensive end, who got back there to lower the boom on Scherer. So St. Xavier was down inside the 10 at one point, but a couple of negative plays.
They'll take him back. What are they going to do here? They're going to send out number 4, Danny Milligan, to kick it. Nice play there by Dicker, who picked up his 4.5 sacks now for the year. He had 3.5 coming in the ball game. Got another tackle for loss.
So Milligan's going to try a 37-yard field goal. Jim, this is an all-purpose player.
He does a little bit everything.
On the year, 11 for 13. And here's the kick for 37 by Milligan. Got it. Danny Milligan gets St. Xavier on the scoreboard with a 37-yard field goal. So the Bombers have a 3-0 lead. It'll be time for Massillon to see if they can answer the call.
Yeah, I tell you what, nice drive there. 2 big plays. Obviously, the kick return, Cionni got him started with a nice return. Got him almost up there to midfield. And then, you know, Brad Scherer did a good job there. Looked like he was going to get sacked. Was able to cut back towards the Massillon Tigers sideline, get up, pick up 27 yards. And then that's when Massillon defense kind of stopped him. Said no more. Took him back 12. And Danny Milligan comes in and does a nice job kicking that field goal.
And this plays right into St. Xavier's strength, their defense.
Yeah, their defense has made plays. Now we're going to see a little bit of this 3-3-5 that everybody's talked about all week. 3 linemen, 3 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs types. Of course, number 7, Fred Craig, he's kind of a hybrid. He's a defensive back, also a linebacker type.
And we'll get a chance to see the all-purpose threat for Massillon. Drop back in kick return formation. Brian Gamble, a junior, moved from wide receiver to running back. Also, Andrew Daley will be back there. So St. Xavier scores on an 8-play drive, a 37-yard field goal by kicker Danny Milligan.
You talked about Milligan. He is their PAT. He's their kicker. Field goals. Handles their punts.
Handles kick returns.
And that's a surprising thing. Yeah, he handles the kickoff returns. Average 11.2 on a return. He's got a TD. He's ran one back for 62 yards. You don't normally see a kicker being a kick returner. That might be a first.
No, knew of a kicker that was a long snapper at one point. We mentioned these 2 teams have been to the finals before, but have never won. St. Xavier twice losing to St. Ignatius, once to Kent McKinley, while Massillon 2 different times in the championship game has lost to Cincinnati Moeller. And Milligan with a kick.
and it splits the returners.
Line drive in, went right through two guys, and
looked like they got caught in a little indecision there, didn't they, Jim?
That you-me call. No one got it.
Yeah, I got it.
Field, right fielder. Yeah,
yeah.
They didn't get that call there, so they'll start the ball at the 20. Have to go 80 yards to see if they can get some points on the board here.
Well, the Massillon offense, what came from behind to win their game last weekend. And we get a look at their starting lineups. And Bobby Huth, their quarterback. Brian Gamble, first team All-State. Yes, he is a dangerous player.
And Risen's their leading receiver. He's a guy they like to go to. The lineman there. Sophomore Reggie Como over there at the right tackle spot. He's a guy you're going to want to watch.
Bobby Huth, a junior. And here's Gamble right up the middle. And Gamble taken down shy of the 25-yard line as he takes on the middle of that St. Xavier defense that pitched 6 shutouts during the course of the year.
Looked like Tim Fagle, number 10, got a piece of Gamble there as he's running the ball. Hey, this kid's a special player. He's only a junior. First team All-State, number 26, Brian Gamble, is a guy that you want to keep an eye on. He, like Ashley on the other side, averaged about 6.5 yards per carry.
So it'll be 2nd and 7 for the Tigers, working from their own 23-yard line. Offset I formation, and Huth fires incomplete as he threw to the far side of the field and put it a little too high, and he stretched his receiver out there and put him in a dangerous position. Zach Van Ryzen.
Yeah, that's the guy I talked about. He's the leading receiver, the go-to guy. 46 receptions, 6 touchdowns. Look a little bit there at Xavier defense. Lewis Miller, second team All-State. Fred Craig, that monster back I talked about, plays some different positions.
He's a guy that people are really high on, Fred Craig, for St. Xavier. So 3rd down now for Massillon from their own 23-yard line. Linnell Robinson is in the backfield with Huth out of the shotgun, and a tackle behind the line is made by Alex Albright, senior defensive end for St. Xavier, and it'll force Massillon to pull away.
No chance at all there. Albright in the backfield almost the same time the handoff was made. Made a nice inside move there, slanted through, and tell you what, first team All-Ohio players like Albright have to make those type of plays in this game, and he stepped up and got it done.
And here's another first teamer, Sean Wiesen, the senior punter for Massillon, and a blitz put on. Ashley almost got that, and Brookbank will let that one get away from St. Xavier. Brad Brookbank. And that one will take some rolls favoring the Massillon Tigers as it gets down near the Bomber 31-yard line. 3-0 St. Xavier with a lead. Let's take it on the field with Dave Chudowsky.
Just talked with St. X QB Brad Scherer, and he told me it is very loud down there. They're having trouble communicating. The offensive line having a very hard time hearing them. That could be a big key in this game. You know, they're not used to stuff like this.
Well, it is loud, and there was a unsportsmanlike penalty that occurred in the first possession that some of it we're kind of giving credit to the crowd noise. Jim, the defensive player, didn't hear a whistle.
Yeah, Antonio James, number 58, did not hear a whistle and kept playing and hit the quarterback late, they said.
Bombers, Darius Ashley running right up the middle. And Ashley gets taken down around his own 34-yard line. A sophomore who they say is very tough to bring down upon first contact.
Yeah, he's a good football player there. Scherer did a good job selling it. All the motion going to the left, and Ashley, first team All-Ohio. There you see some of their guys. Ashley's actually second team. Hauser, an offensive lineman, first team. Albright, the guy we talked about last time, first team. And of course the coach shared that honor, coach of the year.
Yes.
Congratulations to coach.
Steve Speck in his second year. 2nd down for the Bombers, 6 to go. And they're going to hand it off. Cionni eludes some defenders and gets near the 40-yard line. Chris Cionni, I mentioned earlier, he is a second-generation St. Xavier Bomber. His father was in the class of 1974 and played for Tom Balaban.
Going to set up about a 3rd and 1.5 here. Short 1.5, about 1 that they're going to have to make here. Little end around. Cionni gets a handoff, turns the corner. That's a penetration there. You see James almost had him in the backfield. Almost doesn't count.
Cionni, the start of the year, is the starting halfback. An injury took him out, and Darius Ashley took over. 3rd and 1 for the Bombers. And here's Darius Ashley. First down and then some. Thrown down just shy of midfield by Robert Morris, the linebacker. But the Bomber offense is rolling down a hill now.
Ashley's looking good. He's running, like you said, Paul, downhill. That time he got the handoff, had a nice hole, no one at all. Until he got to the second level, and middle linebacker number 42 Robert Morris had to make the stop, pick up the first.
3-0 St. Xavier leading Massillon as we near the 6-minute mark of the first quarter. Calhoun and Ashley in the offset I, and Brad Scherer in his first year as a starter. He replaced Robbie Schoenhoff, who's now at Ohio State, and Darius Ashley will get into Massillon territory as he just keeps pounding it upfield. Antonio James, first team All-State, headed to the University of Illinois in on that tackle.
Well,
Guess Ronzo didn't take long to get into the state of Ohio.
We saw the Illini. They needed some help.
You're sure right. They do need some help. I tell you, nice block there by the right tackle, number 69, Howard Patton, 5'10", 237, took on the guy we talked about, James there. Got a nice block. Picked up 4.
So second and long for the Bombers. 7 to go. They are at the 49 of Massillon. Ashley alone in the backfield. He's going to try the left side, and he's in trouble, and he's going to go down and go backwards. Massillon's defense was ready for Darius Ashley as he got pinned in right away, and Paris McCall made the stop. Second team All-Ohio at linebacker.
Yeah, Dickerhoof, number 99, did a good job at the point of attack, the defensive end. You'll see here, he's going to stop up number 78, the left tackle. Because of that, they had nowhere to go.
So Quentin Palak jump in there as well. The young man that was moved from quarterback. Now it is third down, 8 to go for St. Xavier, back up to their own 49. Scherer in between his running backs. Overloaded receivers to the right side. Scherer looking for one of them. Got Cionni knocked away for the football. Incomplete as a big-time stick is put on Scherer. Oh, my goodness.
I tell you what, looked like Cionni had some running room if he could have come up with that football, but then all of a sudden he ran into the big boy and got the hit.
And that was Ellis who came in. Troy Ellis, second team All-State.
Nice hit by Troy Ellis. Good job. Way to separate the football from the receiver.
Now he'll get a chance to try punt return effort. Troy Ellis averaging over 7 yards per. As Danny Milligan who booted away. St. Xavier with a lead of 3-0. One kind of went off the side of his foot. And Massillon's going to have the ball around their own 25-yard line. 3-0. St. Xavier leads Massillon. 4:21 to play first quarter here at Canton. We'll return to the D1 championship in just a moment. Danny Milligan with a 37-yard field goal, the only scoring so far in the game, and St. Xavier with a lead. Massillon with a football at their own 23-yard line. Bobby Huth, the quarterback. An L hand to Gamble, and he takes it right side, and finally is knocked off balance as St. Xavier and Joe Ries come in to make the play.
Now it looks like they want to keep pounding the football too a little bit. That's what Xavier tried on that last drive. Of course, they tried to pass it down the field, but Cionni got the ball separated from Ellis. Tigers come out and they run on first down.
Now look at second down, 7 to go from their own 26-yard line. Bobby Huth wants to fling it, throwing against his body, and fortunate that it is caught at the 29-yard line by Zach Van Ryzen, and that ball almost could have been picked off by Frank Moran, who won the game with an interception late last week for St. Xavier.
Yeah, I tell you what, Huth, you see him throw this ball, it hangs up in the air a lot. Moran had a nice break on it, but receiver Van Ryzen does a good job coming up with the catch.
Dangerous play. 3rd and 4 now. For Massillon, as they're just shy of their 30-yard line. Less than 3.5 to play. Linnell Robinson will be at setback. Here's a look at Bobby Huth. 3 receivers deployed on 3rd down for the Tigers. Pressure coming. Huth under duress. Floats that ball in the air. Caught near midfield. And taken out of bounds up the far side of the field. Looks like that was Brett Huffman, the tight end, who made that grab. Or Ricardo Wells, excuse me. And a big play on 3rd down for Massillon. Ricardo Wells makes the grab.
Yeah, the 6'2", 205-pound junior gets a chance to come in on some passing situations. You see Huth there, had a little bit of pressure, but finds the open receiver down the field. They get into Xavier territory. I believe that's their first down, Paul.
I believe it is a 28-yard pass play. Huth to Wells. So the drive remains alive for Massillon. The Tigers in bomber territory at the 43-yard line. Huth on 1st down, complete. Van Ryzen behind blockers, and he'll get inside the St. Xavier 40-yard line. John Salinger, excuse me, with a stop of Zach Van Ryzen.
Well, they come out a little bit of a bubble screen to Van Ryzen. You'll see number. There it is. 2 Ohio State quarterbacks. Probably got a little side wager on this game right now. Justin Zwick, of course, in Massillon. Over almost 4,000 yards, 40 TDs in 2001. And Robbie Schoenhoff, 13 TDs in 2003.
Of course, a good friend of ours we can put in that category, Greg Fry.
Exactly right.
Gamble spinning. Gets inside the 35 of St. Xavier. Brian Gamble, as he drew a crowd of blue-shirted Bombers, and they blow the play dead. Right in the middle of that play was Tim Fegel out of the secondary.
We'll set up about a 3rd and 1 situation here. Gamble doing a good job running that football. Went behind his left side, number 50, Brandon Smith, left tackle. Got some good movement over there, but came up just a little bit shy.
Yep. 2 touchdowns last week in the final 5 minutes of the game in Massillon's victory over Liquid St. Edwards. So now the Tigers need a yard to convert. They are 1 for 2 on 3rd downs. Gamble, the deep man in the eye, is Huth. On 3rd and 1, snuggles under his center. Gamble takes it wide to the right, gets the first down, and then some before he is finally thrown down. Brian Gamble eluded a handful of defenders before St. Xavier was able to get him stopped. And it was Alex Albright, defensive end. But a first down for the Massillon Tigers, who find themselves behind by a field goal.
Now they bring in backup fullback Quentin Nicholson, number 25. He gets a nice block inside, but Gamble's not going to follow, but he cuts backside, finds some nice running room, and picks up the first.
And an injured St. Xavier player, Lewis Miller, a senior linebacker, is being attended to. Here's a look at Brian Gamble, what he has done so far. But last week, Jim, 2 touchdowns in the last 5 minutes, 14 carries, 162 yards and a touchdown rushing, and 1 TD catch to get the Tigers to the championship game.
Last run was his best run, and sometimes back just needs to get a few runs underneath their belt before they can turn it loose. And he's starting to warm up a little bit there.
Massillon trying to get ready for the 7th play of the drive for them. You know, both of these teams coming into this championship game, each of them had 2 games against one opponent in their schedule, and very notable opponent. St. Xavier, in the opening week of the year, shut out the defending D1 champion Coleraine Cardinals and then beat them in the 2nd week of the playoffs, while Massillon, after a regular season loss to Canton McKinley and a lopsided loss favoring the Bulldogs, they came back and beat Canton McKinley 21-3 in the playoffs.
So far this drive been very balanced for Massillon. 3 rushing plays, 3 passing plays. Just what you want.
So first down for Massillon in St. Xavier territory. Richardson and Gamble at the offset eye, but Bobby Huth throwing for Van Ryzen, caught near the 25-yard line. Van Ryzen covered over there by corner Brad Brookbank, and Massillon getting their throwing game together.
Yeah, they are. They're starting to make some plays a little bit. Throwing that football, as we mentioned, they are being very balanced on this drive. Get their 4th pass in.
So the ball is at the 27-yard line of St. Xavier for the Massillon Tigers, who have a 2nd and 7. Gamble remains their setback. Bobby Huth will settle under center on 2nd and 7. And here's a reverse. Daley came from left to right, and Daley's going to be cut down just inside the 30-yard line. St. Xavier caught off guard just a little bit, but they were able to get the play sniffed out initially. And it was Nick Schneider, excuse me, who came to make that play on Andrew Daley.
And number 20, Joe Ries, also got involved in that play, stepping up. And now they got to see if they can hold him here. Xavier on 3rd and 5. Massillon like to go ahead and convert this.
Massillon has done pretty well here in their 2nd possession of the game. Linnell Robinson is at halfback. 4 straight completions for Bobby Huth, the quarterback. He's in trouble, and he goes down inside the 30-yard line of St. Xavier. The Bombers able to get some pressure. Kevin Davis in there to bring him down, and the first quarter comes to an end here in Canton. 3-0 St. Xavier leading Massillon, and you're listening to ONN, Ohio's channel for high school sports. Welcome back to Fawcett Stadium here in Canton, Ohio. Paul Keels, Jim Lachey, and Dave Chudowsky. St. Xavier leads Massillon 3-0 to the Tigers. They're going to have Steve Schott attempting a 44-yard field goal to try and tie this football game up. On 4th down, a high snap, and the kick by Schott. He gets some good leg into it and connects. Steve Schott, a 44-yard field goal, and St. Xavier and Massillon are now tied 3-3. That coming in the first play here of the 2nd quarter, and an impressive drive by the Tigers.
Yeah, good job answering, and as we mentioned, very balanced on that drive, throwing and running that football. Schott now 7 of 14 on his field goals, and that's a season long 44-yard. So the game is dead even at 3-3. Ohio State and Massillon. And keep the memories alive. Order a copy of tonight's game for just $19.95. You can see the game forever. Just visit OhioNewsNow.com. I believe you can do that with all 6 of the division championship games.
Last drive there, 10 plays, 49 yards, 4 minutes, 26 seconds off the clock, and Schott gets that 44-yard field goal.
Well, it's the kickers that have been getting into the scorebook, but certainly both these teams on offense have seen some impressive moves by their skill players.
Yeah, they have. Gamble stepped up, I thought, running the football better. Brad Scherer doing a good job running that Xavier offense right now. Of course, he's got some talented guys with Ashley behind him to hand it off to.
Speaking of, Darius Ashley and Chris Cionni back to await the kick. We are early in the second quarter here at Fawcett Stadium in Canton. 3-3. Massillon and St. Xavier, and a short kick is pumped in the air and fielded by an up player for St. Xavier, who goes down at the 30-yard line. Joe Ries makes the catch. So Massillon tried to catch him off guard a little bit, but Joe Ries and the Bombers were ready.
Now the Bombers, we talked about seniors. They got 60 seniors
no cut
on this squad. Massillon, they're well represented by their senior class 28, but 60, you got to be kidding me.
Steve Schott in his second year, former St. Xavier player. He replaced Steve Rasso, whom he played for and coached under. Steve Rasso, longtime coach both at St. Xavier and LaSalle in the GCL in Cincinnati. First down for the Bombers, Brad Scherer. Scherer after a play fake, guns, incomplete, throwing for Seth Robinson, his tight end, and Robinson had Gamble covering him coming across the formation.
Well, number 79, Andrew Hauser's back in the ball game. He's first team All-Ohio left tackle. He missed a couple plays last series. Michael Muldoon, number 78, filled in for him, so I'm sure they're happy. They have their senior tackle back.
So 2nd and 10 for the Bombers. McFarland and Cionni, the receivers. Hobson and Ashley. And it's Ashley. And Darius Ashley, the sophomore, spills over the 30-yard line and is able to pick up some yardage that'll make that third and a little shorter, as the stop is made by Andrew Daley out of the secondary for Massillon.
You see him, they come back here. Play before.
Third and, let's see, Jim, about maybe 4 or 5 now, it looks like.
3rd and 5.
The Bombers are 1 for 3 on 3rd downs tonight. Ball at the St. X 33-yard line. Brad Scherer flanked by running backs. And it's Scherer keeping with some blockers. And Brad Scherer lunges, and he's going to be close to the first down. Very, very close. Brad Scherer, as he stretched his body out. Neil James, cornerback, came up to try and close the field down on him. And
looks like they're going to go ahead and take a look at it. Nope, first down.
First down for St. Xavier.
St. Scherer getting great effort here. Sees number 58, James, running him down. Big height advantage on him. James is 6'5". Scheer's just 5'10".
Yep, averaged over 5 yards per carry on the year. So 3-3 our score. Danny Milligan and Steve Schott for the Bombers and the Tigers respectively have kicked field goals. St. Xavier continues this drive at their own 39-yard line. Out of the same formation, Scherer will hand, and that is Jimmy Hobson, the fullback, who gets his first lunge, a senior who had 3 carries last week against Hilliard Davidson, and minimal gain for Hobson.
You got to give the fullback the ball every once in a while.
Every now and then.
Keep him happy. He's blocking all the time. Hobson averaging a little bit over 4 yards per carry, so he's just not a once in a blue moon type guy. They like to throw it, give it to him. He's caught 5 balls. He had 1 TD for a 62-yard.
Well, Renzo Grizzer with a tackle. It'll be 2nd and 8 for St. Xavier. Ashley alone in the backfield. But Scherer is going to toss. Got a blocker. Got some trouble. Throws while headed out of bounds, and the ball sails out of bounds as he well overthrew either McFarland or underthrew Cionni. Take your pick.
Have not seen any drop back type passing at all by Xavier. They like to do a lot of play action, and we're going to see a lot of that. They usually have a lineman. That time again, number 77, Scherer pulling out, being that personal protector. Scherer cannot find anybody open downfield, just chucks it out of bounds.
So now it'll be 3rd and 8 for St. Xavier. The ball at their own 41. Did you know that, by the way, today is the feast of St. Francis Xavier?
How ironic, huh?
Yes, it is. Just wanted to point that out. As the Bombers are trying for their first ever state championship. And it looks like Brad Scherer is going to call an audible, possibly, on 3rd and 8.
Blitz coming. Scherer got his tight end, but he cannot hang on to the football. Robinson, and oh my goodness, Darren McGuire made contact with Seth Robinson and separated receiver from football.
That's a couple times now down the field where Scheer's thrown a nice football, but the receiver cannot come up with it. But you got to credit to Tiger. The defensive backs are hitting guys and making sure that ball doesn't stay in there.
So Danny Milligan, whose first punt was 28 yards, will kick away to Troy Ellis. We mentioned Ellis averaging over 7 yards per punt return. And Milligan averaging 42 yards per punt. And he gets into this one. Ellis backing up. Draws a crowd. And Ellis go down. St. Xavier got that one sniffed out. And a nice tackle in the special teams play from St. Xavier's Frank Moran, their quarterback. Tie game at 3-3. Massillon and St. Xavier. That was a 42-yard punt.
And 42-yard net, too.
We'll go down to the sidelines and check in with Dave Chudowsky.
Hey, guys, you know St. X is an all-guys school, so obviously we have all-guy cheerleaders. They're all seniors, and they have these jerseys. They say they get them for free. High school kids on a tight budget, you know, and their motto is girls can't cheer. I repeat, that's not my motto. That's their motto, and I think this guy lost a bet.
Fumble on the snap, and Bobby Huth has fallen onto the football. You're right, Dave. He may have lost a bet, and I can speak from experience having gone to one of St. Xavier's rival high schools. It was also all boys. We had girl cheerleaders in Moeller also.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, we did.
No mohawks, huh, for your cheerleaders?
There was a Gomo, yes, but no mohawks. Of course, we saw Coach Jerry Faust downstairs right before the game.
Good to see Jerry. I haven't seen him probably for 20-some years.
Since he tried to recruit you at Notre Dame.
Told me I made a big mistake. I don't know about that.
Moeller is 7 state championships.
Congratulations. He works for Akron, and Akron University is going to have their first bowl game.
Yes, they are. Congratulations to Coach Brookhart and the Zips. And on second down, Bobby Huth under duress throws, and that's going to be incomplete as he chucked that out to his receiver Van Ryzen, but he couldn't quite come back up on the ball. And
Albright, number 5.
Yeah, that was why it was incomplete.
Yeah, and he hit Huth hard. 220-pounder, 6'6". Looks more like a basketball player down there, Paul. He's got extremely long arms, but he's got great quickness.
Of course, we talk about state titles, and the Massillon Washington Tigers, 22 wire service titles. Those were all awarded before the Ohio playoffs began in 1972.
Yeah, so if at the end of the year, if you were ranked number 1 in the poll, guess what? You were the state championship.
2 for 4, Massillon on third downs. They face 3rd and 11 at their own 17-yard line. Linnell Robinson, single setback. Bobby Huth out of the gun, and Bobby Huth under duress, but he unloads the ball. And it looks like Massillon may get the first down as the ball carrier gets up near the 26-yard line. It was Gamble.
Yep.
So they're going to come out, and now it looks like
punt it away.
Yeah, punt it away, just a little bit shy of it. As Brian Gamble tried to wiggle by some defenders and couldn't quite get there.
Send up Wiesen out to punt it. Also, their backup quarterback,
yes,
so you always got to be alert with that. Of course, they're backed up here. I'd punt the ball away.
Averaging almost 40 yards per punt return, and Brad Brookbank for St. Xavier. Back to wait at high snap. But Wiesen gets his foot into this one, and it's shorter than he would have liked, but it'll take a bounce and a roll favoring Massillon. So St. Xavier will have the ball just past their 40-yard line. A 32-yard punt by Sean Wiesen. Game remains tied at 3-3 with 8.5 to play, and it's been a battle of field goal kickers so far, Jim.
Yeah, it has. I guess you would say that's a defensive battle because not the offenses are just kind of playing in the middle of the field right now. Defense is doing a good job of stopping things up, especially on third down. I thought we might see a little bit more out of the running game so far with both teams. Both teams are playing aggressive defense.
Well, and you mentioned both these quarterbacks basically are just shopkeepers. They're not asked to do a whole lot fancy for their football team if things are going well. And here is Brad Scherer, the St. Xavier quarterback, and off a play fake. Scherer with a deep drop now. Ashley, and he bobbles and cannot hang on to it. Hit him in a bad place, Jim.
That hands. End up incomplete pass on that one. Had some blockers out front. A couple of his linemen did a good job. Tell you what, Scherer did a good job of selling that play. He drops back, and then you'll see him continue to drift back further to set up the screen left. We see the lineman out there, and Southmore couldn't come up with that.
Just sucks the defensive lineman right in there. So 2nd and 10 for St. Xavier at their own 42. Cionni to the top of the screen. McFarland to the bottom of the screen. Hobson and Ashley are the setbacks. So Massillon may be setting up for a blitz. Scherer with a pocket and a seam and some room. First down and then some. Brad Scherer as he hurts Massillon with his feet. Finally, the tackle made by safety Andrew Daley, but Brad Scherer sees the hole and he just exposes.
Yeah, and you know, this guy does run the football. He's had 463 yards coming in, rushing the football, 2 TDs, one of those, one for 80 yards. So he can break a big one. And right now, I think he's been the difference for this offense. He is, you said, kind of a shopkeeper, but they count on him to make plays like that.
Ball at the Massillon 45 for St. Xavier. A little more than 8 minutes to play, second quarter. 3-3 tie game. Cionni on the reverse option, and here's McFarland now with the ball. Matthew McFarland with a blocker from Cionni. He gets to the 30 and taken down near the 25 of Massillon by safety Andrew Daley, but a 17-yard gain on a reverse pitch to Matt McFarland.
Nice looking play there. You got to give Coach Speck credit for drawing that one up there. That kind of takes a while. You're running a lot behind your line of scrimmage. Cionni, you'll see him. He'll come around. He'll get the first fake handoff there. And then he goes out and does a nice job. You see him blocking outside wide.
Fantastic.
Farland turns the corner.
So under 8 to play here in the second quarter, and St. Xavier on the march. The game is tied at 3.
2 first downs in a row.
Yes. Danny Milligan, the kicker and all-purpose player. One of 2 receivers wide to the right. And Brad Scherer going to roll to the right. Toss to the left, Scherer. And it's dropped by the fullback, Jimmy Hobson, who had 6 points written all over that.
That might have been one of those cases where you're just too wide open.
Time to think about it.
Yeah, they've run this play 3 or 4 times, and they've always thrown to the right side of the field. You're going to see again, they're going to play action, roll out to the right, and then look, he comes all the way backside. Hop. He'll think about that one.
Oh, he sure will.
For a long time.
So now, St. Xavier 2nd and 10 at the 27 of Massillon. They go back to him. Darius Ashley spinning. He gets to the 21. Darius Ashley. As again, we see why St. Xavier runs the ball so well. Robert Morris with the stop.
Yeah, Paris McCall, number 6. You'll see him. He's going to come up in the hole right here. Boom! Ashley put the spin move on.
Those dance lessons paid off.
Fred Astaire.
So 3rd and 3 for the Bombers at the 20-yard line of the Massillon Tigers. Trying to see if they can't do something about this 3-all deadlock. Brad Scherer. And it's Darius Ashley. Scherer hangs on to it. And Scherer diving. He's going to get into about the 16-yard line.
Like
right at the first down marker. And you're right, Jim. They closed it down on him. Daley was in there to
Coach, what do you
squeeze
do here?
him in a little bit, along with Paris McCall.
4th and about a half yard. Tell you what, good play action there. Ashley doing a good job carrying out the fake after he gets it. Scherer pulls that ball in, has some blockers outside. Good job outside. Maybe a bad spot there. Looked like he fell forward. Enough for that first down.
There's where Brad Scherer was able to advance the football. Of course, this St. Xavier football team, we talked about Greg Fry, a former Bomber, Rocky Boyman and Lamar Marshall, a couple of recent NFL players, Mark Schmerke, who played at Michigan, Marty Mooney at Notre Dame, and the Solman brothers, Steve and Scott Solman. And they're going to stretch the chains out and take a look. And
inches, he says. You can see it right there. Good shot, guys. About 2 inches.
Well, Steve Speck looks like he's going to send his offensive unit back out.
Yeah, I would.
He sure is.
State championship game, Paul. There's no game next week.
Nope.
Yeah, you're playing for it all right here.
Andy Betch. Come now, I believe your part. That's Mike Newman. An extra tight end has come on for the Bombers as they look at 4th and less than 1. The ball spotted at the 17 of Massillon. And we see an I formation with Hobson, a wingback to the left. But St. Xavier needs 1 to try and convert it. Joe Ries. Joe Ries is the up man in the I. Darius Ashley behind him. Brad Scherer. Darius Ashley into the pile. That's going to be a 2nd, 3rd, 4th effort. Maybe. We'll get him the first down. Let's wait and see.
Oh, I love it.
Troy Ellis was in there ripping and clawing. And
22 bodies all within about a 5x5 radius. It is awesome.
First down for St. Xavier.
Yep.
What an effort by Darius Ashley.
Look at all the guys just crammed up in that box. You see Gamble fighting hard. Ashley fighting a little bit harder, though. Keeps his feet moving, his body moving, and struggles. Picks up the first by about 3 or 4 inches.
An impressive drive right here, and it looks like Tom Stacy, the Massillon head coach, is going to take a timeout. 7:02 to play. Till halftime, 3-3 St. Xavier and Massillon tied. We'll come back. ONN is Ohio's channel for high school sports. A 7-play drive working right now for St. Xavier. They're coming up on play number 8. 3-3 tie score. The Bombers and Massillon with 7:02 to play second quarter. And on 1st and 10, St. Xavier continue with this drive from the Tigers' 16-yard line. Brad Scherer. And now Darius Ashley will break ranks and set up as a receiver. Scherer looking. Scherer with time. Guns. McFarland. Touchdown. Matt McFarland with a touchdown catch, his 3rd of the year, and give Brad Scherer a lot of credit, staying alive to find his receiver in a 16-yard pass play.
Yeah, I tell you what, Paul, he had a couple guys open on that play. Looked like he looked at Hobson's way a little bit and thought, well, maybe not. Looking towards Robinson, number 34, said, no, I'm not going to go there. And then finds Matt McFarland open in the end zone. Nice throw, great catch. Bombers get the lead.
They certainly do. And Danny Milligan will attempt the point after. High snap, but Milligan on target with a kick. A 16-yard touchdown pass. Brad Scherer to Matt McFarland. And it gives the St. Xavier Bombers a lead of 10-3 over the Massillon Washington Tigers. An impressive drive. I believe it was 8 plays and a little bit of everything in that.
Yeah, they did. They did a good job throwing that football. Had a couple guys open in the end zone. Missed one of them. We talked about Hobson, but then McFarland comes back. Ashley now for the game has 11 attempts for 28 yards. So it hadn't all been the running part, but it's been Scherer. He's directing this offense well, finding open receivers. That time, offensive line gave him plenty of time, protection, to find the open receiver down the field.
And here's a look at the National Guard halftime show coming up live from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And we'll get a chance to see what's been going on over the course of the whole weekend. Be sure to join Dan DeCrow and Jerry Rudzinski for all the insight of the first half recaps and the Army National Guard halftime show. And we should offer our congratulations, Jim, to the other 5 teams that have clinched state championships already. Steubenville, Patrick Henry, Toledo Central Catholic, Coldwater, and Delphus St. John's.
Wait a minute, Coldwater and Delphus, what is familiar about them? Oh, they both play in the MAC conference. How about that? 2 state championships in 1 conference?
Over in your neck of the woods.
That's right, back here in West Central Ohio.
So St. Xavier with a lead of 10-3. And Gamble in the end zone.
Touchback.
Has to be a touchback, so the Massillon Tigers find themselves in a deficit, 10-3 to the St. Xavier Bombers. But this is a Massillon team that we mentioned last week. They came from behind in their semifinal victory over Lakewood St. Edwards to score a 21-17 victory.
Yeah, I believe they were down 17-7 in that ball game into the 4th quarter. That's when number 26, Brian Gamble, sort of took over.
Yep, he scored 2 touchdowns in the final 5 minutes. Linnell Robinson at setback. Bobby Huth feeds him. And Robinson taken down at the 20-yard line. And St. Xavier is playing some inspired defense. Brad Brookbank, an all-state honorable mention selection at cornerback with a nice open field tackle.
Yeah, Robinson there, you get some carries for Gamble. Gamble, as we mentioned, the Iron Man, does a little bit of everything, offense, defense, kick, return, so they like to give him a break. And when he does get a break, number 34 gets the opportunities. Got to give credit to Brookbank there, making a nice tackle on the big old tailback.
2nd and 10 for the Tigers. A lot of credit to Tom Stacy. Hired in June as Massillon's coach. Put his staff together in July. Robinson on the delay handoff. This time he finds a little room to peck his way through the defense, but is taken down at the 25-yard line.
Well, big down here, 3rd and 5 for Massillon. Kept the ball the first 2 plays on the ground. There you see Robinson doing a better job running that football, getting warmed up a little bit. And
Alex Albright chased him down from behind.
He can make a lot of plays from behind. He's just not one of those guys that makes tackles at the line of scrimmage.
2 for 5, the 3rd down success for the Massillon Tigers. And they need about 5 more to get to their own 30. And Bobby Huth Throwing incomplete, and that was a late penalty flag drop. Brett Huffman, the intended receiver, Fred Craig covering him. A late flag thrown, and we would assume that would be defensive pass interference.
Yeah, I tell you what, this Craig is a football player you want to watch for the years to come. Only a sophomore, 6'1", 190. Just got there a little bit early on Huffman.
Pass interference on the defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic.
Gets Massillon off the hook. Fred Craig forced a fumble last week against Hilliard Davidson, and the Bombers win. 5.5 to play here in the second quarter. Tom Stacy's Tigers trying to see if they can't put together a drive like St. Xavier did.
Yeah, it was a close call, but a good call. We got there just a tad early.
10-3. St. Xavier leading Massillon. Now Sean Wisen, the punter and backup quarterback, is taking snaps for the Tigers. And Wisen off the snap, takes off running, and he runs into Fred Craig. Play comes dead around the 42-yard line. Sean Wisen, we talk about everything he's done. He's completed 51% of his passes for almost 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 picks.
And here comes number 16 Huth back into the ball game. So that must have been just something they worked on all week in practice. Thought they might have something there.
Do you think we were watching Ohio State and Texas all over again?
Multiple quarterbacks.
Yes. So 2nd and 10. Now that's a little less than 10. That's about 2nd and 7. And Bobby Huth, trouble, throws, complete. And the pass is complete as Miller makes the catch and gets to the first down flag. Just past the 50-yard line as he outfought Tim Fegel for position. But Bobby Huth did a good job to avoid the defender that came flying out.
Tell you what, now the Tigers got a nice little drive. They just crossed into Bomber territory here. Not too long ago, they had a 3rd and 5 that was incomplete, but the penalty kept this drive alive. So Massillon's taking advantage of it right now.
They sure are. We see that as Massillon comes to the line of scrimmage, the officials have stopped play. There seems to be an equipment issue.
Looks like Moran might have a helmet issue over there, number 31.
There's a look at what Bobby Huth has done, flinging the football here this evening so far. Only a junior, and again, we talked about how that position came to him because Quentin Pollock, a quarterback last year, was moved to linebacker.
They're doing a heck of a job over there.
Yes, he sure is.
I saw him down in the field before the game.
We did.
Tall and athletic looking.
First down for Massillon, just into St. Xavier territory. And Bobby Huth, that pass looked like it was partially deflected, but Gamble makes the catch and chugs the ball beyond the first down flag again. Brian Gamble, and he's still moving the pile. Came off the near flank and is able to push it deeper into Bomber territory for a first down. Brian Gamble. Stop made by John Salinger.
Tell you what, Gamble doing a good job running there. Lewis Miller, number 53, putting pressure. I don't see a flag on the field.
Yep.
Brian Gamble, you'll see 53, Lewis Miller coming. Gamble getting that middle screen, got some blocks upfield, and then it's rest of its effort here. Pulls ahead and picks up another first down.
First down for the Tigers, who trailed the Bombers 10-3, 4.5 to play. Here in the second quarter from Fawcett Stadium in Canton. Gamble, the deep man in the eye. Ahead of him is Robert Morris. Gamble in trouble, and Fred Craig will wrap him up and throw him down. Fred Craig, sophomore linebacker.
Tell you, Robert Morris did a nice job at fullback. Got a nice block in the middle, but nowhere for Gamble to go. He cuts it out to the right, and this you'll see some of the Bombers' speed catch up. See number 10, Fagel, doing a good job fighting off a block there, and then Fred Craig, the sophomore, coming and make a tackle.
Now the officials again are stopping play.
It's like Gamble might have an equipment issue with his helmet.
Yeah, because you saw Jim, he immediately took that helmet off right away. Somebody had come in to replace him, and he waved him off.
Well, sometimes you get in these championship games, you get some bent face mask from the hitting.
Yes, you do. This is a 7-play drive in the process for the Massillon Tigers. You mentioned they are looking for their first ever state title under the playoff system. And they now look at second down. Bobby Huth. Now Huth on the move, runs into one of his own players, but then finally gets thrown down. As Bobby Huth could not get out of the way of one of his own men, and Alex Albright, defensive end who was headed to Boston College, makes the stop.
He's got 2 receivers out there. He sees that none of them are open, quickly makes the decision, hey, I'm just going to try to scramble. Done a good job of that so far tonight, running that football there. The Bombers get him right at the line of scrimmage.
I mentioned Albright going to Boston College. Their head coach, Tom O'Brien, is a St. Xavier alum. There's 3 or 4 kids for Boston College that played at Xavier.
That wouldn't be surprising.
Pipeline.
3rd and 10 for Massillon. Bobby Huth. And now Bobby Huth trying to buy himself some time. Blue shirts all around him, and he's just going to put that one in the hands of a St. Xavier player. But the ball was grabbed by Tim Fengle as his momentum was carrying him out of bounds. It will not be a pick. Bobby Huth just trying to throw to save his own skin.
Yeah, Huth running out right towards Xavier sideline. Knew that he was running out of room. Risky pass there. Of course, on 3rd down, you try to want to make something happen. Fengle got that pick, but he was out of bounds when he caught it.
Yep, so 4th down for Massillon right now.
We're going to send in Wiseland, the punter.
He has averaged 40 yards on 2 punts. Of course, Wiseland, the backup quarterback, he can run. St. Xavier will drop Brad Brookbank back 10-3. St. Xavier's lead over Massillon, Washington, with 3:08 to play until intermission.
Yeah, I tell you what,
be ready.
Got that single receiver up top that if you don't punt it,
he's going to try and pin it in. Nice hop, right out of bounds around the 15-yard line. So St. Xavier's offense will take over. The Bombers have an advantage of 10-3 over Massillon here at Fawcett Stadium in Canton, Ohio. St. Xavier unbeaten this season. They've threw 6 shutouts up. Their closest game of the year was their first game of the year, where they beat the defending Division I champion Cincinnati Colerain 7-0. Although Hilliard Davidson last week gave them a 17-10 scare. So the St. Xavier offense will have the football. And we're the only place where we'll take a look at this play as Brad Scherer on 1st down takes off running, and he weaves his way through the Massillon defense, and Brad Scherer to his own 40. And Scherer finally taken out of bounds past midfield by Andrew Daley as he just picked his way through that defense. Looked like he got thrown into the kicking net after he had gone out of bounds. A 44-yard run by Scherer, and St. Xavier cooking with gas right now.
I tell you what, and it's all been because number 3, Brad Scherer, he is running this offense perfection. That time just running an option down the line of scrimmage, nothing there. Uses his great quickness and athletic ability to cut it backside.
So 1st down for St. Xavier at the 39 of Massillon. The Bombers with a 10-3 lead, and Brad Scherer, who had that big scamper. And Darius Ashley will try his hand at it as he goes pirouetting away from defenders and gets inside of the 30-yard line of Massillon. Robert Morris finally brings Darius Ashley down, and the Bombers' running game is giving the Tigers fits right now.
Nice block inside. You see number 65 doing a good job blocking up. Ashley's able to spin out of that, and that is just hitting a guy that's a little bit small, a little bit stronger, got a little bit more want to. That time he stayed underneath all those hits and sprung ahead for some more yards.
McFarland and Cionni wide to the top of the screen. 1st down, St. X inside of the Massillon 30. Cionni in motion. Scherer in trouble, eludes a defender. And Scherer looks like he's just going to put that one out of bounds, throwing for Matt McFarland, but he did an outstanding job to elude the pressure put on by the Massillon Tiger defense.
Tell you what, that guy's quick, greasy, whatever you want to call him. And people can't catch up to him. Does a good job running that football, and that time throwing, avoiding the rush. Still able to chuck it out of bounds with no open receiver. Doing a good job running this game.
Steve Specht and the St. Xavier coaching staff, they had to replace Robbie Schoenhoff at quarterback, and Brad Scherer, a senior, doing an outstanding job. 2nd and 10 for St. X. Just inside the Massillon 30-yard line. And Darius Ashley just goes thumping it right up the middle. Nothing fancy, as Darius Ashley just takes on the middle of the Massillon defense. And he is finally stopped by Massillon's Lorenzo Grizzard.
Just a simple isolation play there. You see the hops in the fullback taking on Morris, number 42, and Ashley does what a good tailback does. Follow that fullback.
Follow the fullback. And here's a look at how St. Xavier has taken it to Massillon on the ground.
153 to 16.
3rd and 7 for the Bombers at the Tigers' 6-yard line, and we have a stoppage in play. Steve Specht, the St. Xavier head coach, wants to huddle up and talk. Of course, Steve took over for the coach that he played for, Steve Rasso. Had been an assistant coach under Steve Rasso for quite a few years. And he has brought a lot of pride back, the 37-year-old Steve Specht, to the Hill on North Bend Road, a 1986 graduate at St. Xavier, all GCL defensive back. He's been an assistant
ever since 1996.
28-1 is his career record.
Outstanding. And a guy that has really won over the St. Xavier community. His predecessor, Steve Rasso, who I had a chance to know Steve doing high school games back when I was in college, and Steve still works teaching at St. Xavier, even though he's retired from coaching.
We know they have about 15, 16 guys on their coaching staff, and when Coach Rasso decided to step down, they all said it deserves to be Coach Speck. And, you know, it's kind of one of those things like, okay, we had it all from internal, and we got our guy, and they haven't looked back.
They said Steve Speck was on the PA at school at St. Xavier this week, reminding the students that tomorrow is their big day for a canned food drive for Christmas donations in Cincinnati.
Win or lose, he wants them to be out there participating. So that says a lot about the guy right there.
And they have participated very well here on the field, facing 3rd and 7 from Massillon's 26. Bombers with a lead of 10-3. And Brad Scherer after the fake, going down the middle for his tight end, incomplete inside the 10-yard line. That was not a tight end, excuse me. That was one of his big receivers. He was going for Mike Knuven, but just a little too much on it.
Tell you what, it looked like Knuven might have got bumped up a little bit there by a Tiger defender down the field. But 4th down, they're going to send in Danny Milligan and see if they can do it. You'll see it again, the replay here. Good protection. Scherer throwing that ball in there. Little contact, not bad, just good defense.
Danny Milligan, who's already hit a 37-yard field goal, is going to try a 43-yarder. Milligan's kick, short, way short. Looked like he just never hit it right. So St. Xavier unable to get 3 more, as Danny Milligan is not able to get it over the upright. So Massillon will take over, but St. Xavier has a 10-3 lead.
Yeah, sometimes when you get a longer field goal, kickers just try to kill it. You know, they want to go ahead and see if they can knock it through the uprights. He kind of whipped on that one a little bit. Line driver. Lucky it didn't get a block. Now the Tigers have got a chance still to go get some points, possibly tie this thing up.
Yeah, minute and a half to play until halftime. And Massillon trying to see if they can maybe grab a little momentum. Bobby Huth at quarterback. Linnell Robinson is just to his right. And Robinson rumbling 25-yard line. Beyond the 30 and near the 40. And they'll shove him backwards, but the forward progress should put that ball for Linnell Robinson right around the 38-yard line on a 19-yard scamper. Fred Craig led the charge of St. Xavier defenders.
Yeah, now the Tigers are, you know, with that play there, like, hey, this can happen. We picked up 19 on 1st down. We do that a couple more times, we'll be close to the end zone. They're in a hurry-up mode now.
They sure are, Jim, trailing 10-3. And Bobby Huth. Pressure, fumbles the football, and it's going to be recovered by Massillon right around their own 36-yard line as that ball came spitting out, and one of the offensive linemen jumped on it right away. Mike Rush, the center.
Well, the center knows where that field that ball. He knows where it is. That time he did a good job of coming up with a big play. So now they got to really hurry up and get things rolling.
Yep, less than a minute to play. 3rd and 10. Excuse me, it's 2nd and 10. And here's Robinson getting a lot of the load at tailback. Fred Craig in there to bring him down. Also, St. Xavier getting some help.
Well, are they going to let this thing run down? They got 2 timeouts. Both teams have 2 timeouts left. Looks like Massillon wants to take some time off the clock. And
yeah,
if they don't convert here, then they're not going to give the Bombers any time to work with this ball at the end of the half.
Here's a look at what Robinson has done. And Linnell Robinson handling the halfback spot. We've seen Brian Gamble used more now as a receiver here.
We don't know if there's a play clock.
The game clock rolling at about 14.
They're going to take a timeout.
And it looks like they just want to Massillon to make sure that St. Xavier doesn't get the football back in their hands.
So now if they go ahead and, you would think, probably run the ball. If you're going to take that much time off, you
why
wouldn't throw it.
If
they run it now, it is. You see the 2 timeouts there. That Xavier has. Massillon called their 2nd timeout, so they got 1 left. Now, I would think if Massillon runs the ball, you'll see the Bombers call a quick timeout
to see if they
at least make them punt the ball. Yeah.
And there's a look at the Massillon offense huddled up around Tom Stacy, their head coach, and Tom Stacy from the Tiffin area in Ohio. We mentioned
Ashland College.
Yep. Under Lee Owens, another former Massillon head coach, took over after back-to-back 4 and 6 seasons for Massillon. Rick Shepis resigned in May. Tom Stacy hired in June and completed his staff about a week or so before they gathered to start summer drills. Of course, Tom Stacy from Columbia High School in Tiffin, attended Bowling Green where he was a catcher on the baseball team.
You can call a game, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
1, 2, or 3, huh?
He kept a couple of coaches from the previous coaching staff, convinced Steve Kovacs to leave Worcester to become defensive coordinator.
Well, he says that when they lose, he likes to mow his lawn.
You know, and after they lost to McKinley, he mowed it 3 times the next morning.
With frost on it.
Should it be 3rd and 10. Massillon from their own 39. Gamble. He's in trouble. And taken down. St. Xavier is playing some inspired defense. Kyle Myers, senior defensive end.
Bombers do call the timeout.
With 8 seconds left in the half.
So they'll make them punt it away and have just a little bit of time.
Just a little bit.
If you get one of those line drive rolling punts, you might not have any time left here.
There's a look at Steve Specht. Of course, St. Xavier trying to bring the Division I championship back to Cincinnati, where
it's been there.
Kerry Combs and the Coleraine Cardinals got it last year, and before that, it was the Elder Panthers from the west side of Cincinnati that got it 2 years in a row.
Yeah, they're going for a 4 sweep for Cincinnati, trying to take over for a long, long time the northeast part of Ohio. Chuck Kyle and Ignatius, they've won 9 state championships over the years.
Some of those over St. Xavier.
Yeah,
a couple of them.
They're bringing the dominance back to Southern Ohio. Of course, the Southern Ohio's complaint was they always had to travel 3-4 hours to play this game.
Well, I think if they know they're going to come up here and win, no, they don't mind at all. Now. Wiesen under duress.
Nice punt.
Brookbank for St. Xavier. It should be the end of the half. And Brookbank maybe going to make him pay for it.
Got it.
Brad Brookbank got one person to beat. Gets by him and he's got an escort. Touchdown, Brad Brookbank. A 72-yard punt return for a touchdown. And on the final play of the half, the St. Xavier Bombers on Brad Brookbank's 72-yard punt return for a touchdown have taken a 16-3 lead over Massillon.
Yeah, he's not the guy that is their normal guy that does a lot of returns. We talk about Danny Milligan. His long season long was only 25. You'll see him here. He knows that there's no time left on the clock. There's nothing else to do. Just try to run, try to get in the end zone. Goes all the way down the sideline, had a clear path all the way, and then Gamble can't come over the tackle at the end.
High snap, but Milligan kicks the PAT, and he has got it. It is our understanding that is the first punt return for a touchdown in Division I state title game history. Brad Brookbank, a 72-yarder. And after one half of play, St. Xavier leads Massillon 17-3 here at the Division I championship game at Fawcett Stadium in Canton. We'll pause. ONN is Ohio's channel for high school sports. (17-3) the halftime score. St. Xavier leading Massillon. Let's go down on the field to Dave Chudowsky.
All right, guys, for the big game and the big guy, and of course, I mean, Dan is the OSAA committee. And Dan, your anniversary was August 1st. How'd the first year go for you?
Actually, we had a great first year. It's hard that the year went through that quickly, but we went through all the tournaments, all season, ending of year 2. It's been a great year, great teams, great schools, great communities in Ohio, and it's been a great learning curve for me.
Tell me a little bit about the Blue Ribbon Committee.
Well, we have a Blue Ribbon Committee that has 5 committees that are working with it to look at a lot of things that we do in high school athletics in Ohio. We're looking at the seasons and the number of contests. We're looking at non-boundary schools, how we communicate with technology with our schools. In our 2020 group to look to say what's high school athletics going to look like in the year 2020. So that's one we're going to spend a lot of time with.
The fall is all about football. I mean, we love their sports, but I mean, just look around. This is unbelievable. What a great way to end the football season with these 2 teams and this size crowd.
I was going to say, I don't know how you end the fall season any better than this. Packed crowd, 2 great schools, 2 great communities, 2 great football teams out here. They represent all the best things that happen in high school sports in Ohio.
Ohio high school football, OHSA, and ONN have had a great relationship. Just comment on the future of this relationship.
think we've been blessed to have a great with O&M that loves and cares about high school sports, supports high school sports across the state of Ohio, and supports the mission of the Ohio High School Athletic Association about doing what's good for kids.
How about that last play? Oh my goodness, 17-3 now. I mean, that could be a backbreaker.
That could be a big mountain for Massillon to have to climb, but they've been playing hard, they've been playing well, and we'll have a big second half, I'm sure.
And you know what? Massillon loves back. You know that, guys. Let's send it back to you.
All right, Dave. Yeah, they came from behind last week, but this is big momentum right now for St. Xavier as Brad Brookbank at the end of the half. 71-yard punt return for a touchdown. St. Xavier leads Massillon 17-3. Really, that's probably the fanciest play we've seen all night.
Yeah, I mean, it's been purely, I think, for Xavier, Brad Scherer. I mean, he's got 6 carries for 86 yards. One of those went for 45, averaging over 14 yards per carry. He's probably, I think, been the most impressive guy I've seen on the field. I know we talked about Ashley, we talked about Gamble. Those guys aren't getting it done. Right now, Gamble has only 9 yards on 6 carries. Robinson's the leading rusher for Massillon. He's got 5 for 25.
17-3, St. Xavier leads Massillon. Halftime here at the Division I championship game from Fawcett Stadium in Canton. More coming up. ONN is Ohio's channel for high school sports.
Thrilling finish to the first half of the Division I championship game as our weekend of champions continues from the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton. Dan Decrow along with Jerry Rudzinski, and this is the Army National Guard halftime show. 17-3, Cincinnati St. Xavier leading Massillon. The final play of the first half, a punt return for a touchdown after Steve Speck called timeout with 8 seconds left. What a brilliant coaching move.
Well, Gamble there from Massillon, Washington, got the ball on third down, was heading towards the sidelines, and very smart. Went down. He said, let's let the clock expire. But St. X saw what they had. They saw the opportunity, called the quick timeout, and that's all they needed. Great wall of blocking there, and Brookbank was able to take it in and really change the momentum of the game.
The feeling inside Fawcett Stadium right now has just been absolutely electric throughout the first half. Has the first half kind of gone the way you thought it would? It's a physical, hard-hitting football game.
Well, yeah, we're seeing the speed of St. Xavier, but also just how physical Massillon Washington is. That defensive front early in the game was trying to send a message to St. Xavier. They're not backing down from anybody. This is their neck of the woods. They've played in that stadium before. They've been in big games before, and they said, hey, Northeast Ohio, we're tired of hearing about St. Xavier and Colerain. It's time to try to bring it back to Northeast Ohio.
St. X is trying to make it 4 years in a row that the Division I state championship went down to Cincinnati. Early in the game, senior quarterback Brad Scherer escapes trouble and scrambles for big yardage, 25 yards down to about the 10-yard line. The Massillon defense would hold, though, and St. X would have to kick a field goal. Danny Milligan drilling a 37-yarder, 3-0 Bombers. But Massillon answers, and Steve Schott hammers a 44-yard field goal through, and it's a 3-3 game. Now, St. X starting to drive on the end around. Scherer pitches the ball to Matt McFarland, and a big block there by Chris Cionni, number 21, springs McFarland for a 17-yard gain, and shortly after that, St. X caps the drive with a touchdown.
Well, cold weather, and Scherer has done it all night, despite the weather, despite the good coverage, despite some drops by his receivers. He's delivering strikes and throwing a nice football there. He connects for the touchdown.
A 16-yard touchdown pass to Matt McFarland made it 10-3, and here's the play we talked about off the top. With the time running down, Steve Speck called a timeout with 8 seconds left so that Massillon would have to punt the football to St. X, and Brad Brookbank breaks a 72-yard punt return for a touchdown. The great move at the 11, and he dives into the zone. Cincinnati St. Xavier leads this game at the break 17-3 with just a huge play to close out the first half of action. Cincinnati St. Xavier, an outstanding football team, 14-0, ranked number 1 in the state, nationally ranked in the top 10. Head coach Steve Speck has a system and it's working to perfection for the Bombers.
Yeah, they really try to do it all. You see him doing the draw and screen game at times. Then, of course, they keep going to Ashley there, let him try to pick up yards between the tackles. But what's so impressive tonight is the way those receivers are just going vertical, and Scheerer's getting back in there. He's got a better arm than a lot of people think. That guy is just throwing it and challenging those defensive backs. They knew that Massillon Washington was going to go a lot of cover two, and when you only have two safeties back there and your corners are up tight, that creates a lot of creases in that defense.
St. X has had a couple bad breaks tonight. Shearer's made some beautiful passes that have either been dropped or were right on the money, and the receiver was separated from the ball because of a huge hit. St. X it just looks like it's got that mindset and that vision that nothing is going to derail this football team.
Well, we've seen a lot of great offenses in these championship games, but you look at St. Xavier, I don't think there's an offense out there that puts more pressure on a defense. They're not always the biggest guys out there on the perimeter when you look at Ashley and, of course, Cionni, but those guys are lightning quick. They know how to get open. They know how to make big plays. They've done it all season long against bigger competition. When I think of the big powerhouse programs in Division I, I think you got to go with Cleveland Glenville as having the best team speed, but right behind them, I put St. Xavier. These guys can really run.
Massillon's down 17-3, but it was just a week ago that the Tigers trailed Lakewood St. Ed 17-7. Midway through the fourth quarter, came back to win. What's Massillon have to do to get this game evened up and potentially surge ahead?
I don't see the points as the biggest obstacle they got to overcome. I think it's the mindset and the emotions of what just happened there at the end of the first half. They're going to go into that locker room. They expected to go in there and say, hey, we're only down by 7 points. We get the ball. Let's go out there, use our system, get ourselves back in the game. But right now, they've put themselves into a deeper hole. And if they can mentally get by that, the most important play is the next play, not the play that just happened. Look forward, don't look backwards. If they can put that behind them, there's still all kinds of time to get back in this game.
Cincinnati St. Xavier leading Massillon 17-3 at halftime of the Division I state final. Paul Keels and Jim Lachey are back after the break on ONN.
Halftime here at Fawcett Stadium in Canton, the Division I state championship game. St. Xavier leads Massillon Washington 17-3. Jim, I think folks are still buzzing about that Brad Brookbank 71-yard punt return right before the half.
Yeah, an exciting play there. You know, sometimes I think as a team when you play, you know, maybe not to lose. I think a little bit Massillon was doing at the end. They're trying to just be calculated, trying to give the ball a little with no time left, but it didn't work. It kind of backfired on them. Now they got to play down 14. There you look at some of the stats. Total yards, Xavier 168 to 103. Rushing yards, the big difference there. 120 yards more for Xavier. Yards on first down. Xavier's doing well in that category. And of course, both teams doing not even okay. 2 of 7 on third down conversions.
You were trying to be nice.
Yeah, I was trying to be nice. They're struggling a little bit there.
And certainly Brad Scherer, 1 for 10 passing, 15 yards and a touchdown. That'll be an anomaly.
Yeah, exactly. 1 for 10. That didn't happen very often. But the one he went to was Matt McFarland. He's got the only reception for Xavier Knight right now, a 15-yarder touchdown.
We get a look to see some of what happened here in the first half. Massillon Wells on the receiving end there as the Tigers got set up to kick a field goal.
Yeah, they got that, helped them get in field position. A couple more plays after that, and you see here, the Tigers getting their field goal. 44-yarder. That's a season long for the kicker. So good job there.
That tied the game at 3. And here's what puts St. Xavier ahead again. Matt McFarland. Brad Scheer's only completion of the half so far.
Yeah, like we mentioned, 1 for 10 there, but he gets the key one. And here's a punt return.
Brad Brookbank
doing a good job. You see him running. Tigers running through 2-3 missed tackles already. And then he had the alley all the way. And then you're going to see Gamble, one of their best players, also miss a tackle on the 10-yard line.
Third punt return for a touchdown this season by St. Xavier. The first ever in the Division I championship game. St. Xavier leads Massillon 17-3. Back with a second half in just a moment. Cincinnati St. Xavier leading Massillon Washington as the second half's about to start in the D1 championship game. Let's check in on the field with Dave Chudowsky.
Guys, I spoke with both coaches. I spoke with Coach Specht, and he told me that play was obviously a momentum change. They were going for the block and end up returning it all the way for a big touchdown. He says the key in the second half, they need to catch the ball. As far as Coach Stacy says, he says they need to tackle and score, obviously. And he also told his team, hey, we've been here before, and you know they have. You guys talked about the St. Ed's game earlier, and then a couple weeks earlier against Findlay, they were down by 10 in the second half, came back and held Findlay out of the end zone that almost forced overtime. So this team has seen it many, many times.
Yeah, a lot of football left to be played. This is the last half of football in the state of Ohio for high school play. We want to congratulate those that are already enjoying championships. Coach Greg Dempsey in Toledo Central Catholic, Reno Sokoch in Steubenville, Columbus St. Francis de Sales fell to Steubenville yesterday. Coldwater and their head coach John Reed, Bill Inselman and his Patrick Henry team, and Delphus St. John's and head coach Todd Schulte. Congratulations to those gentlemen, their assistant coaches, their players, their support staff, their students, and their communities.
Yeah, and probably the most important people, or happy people right now, are those families. They're finally going to get all their husbands and guys back home after working the football season. They started back in early August, and this has been a run now to December. So there'll be some sigh of reliefs and some happy feelings throughout the state.
Yes, and one half to be played here at Fawcett Stadium in Canton, the 34th year of the Ohio high school football playoffs. Both of these teams have yet to win the prize. Well, St. Xavier is one half away, but Massillon trying to do something about it.
Yeah, and Massillon will get the ball. They won the toss here to start the game. They deferred to the second half, so this is going to get their opportunity, and we'll see if they can make something happen. As we mentioned, last couple games they've been able to come from behind. 14 points they were down with 5 or 6 minutes to go there in the fourth quarter, and they got it. Gamble slowed down there in that first half. 9 yards on 6 carries.
And Jim, you know, we noticed too that Massillon was using him more as a receiver than a running back there in the second quarter.
Yeah, they brought Robinson in and kind of tried to spread him out a little bit. You know, maybe it's, again, that 3-3 defense. They thought they might be able to run on that, but the Bombers doing a good job of attacking it and making plays behind the line of scrimmage.
Brian Gamble and Linnell Robinson back to await the kick for St. Xavier. Danny Milligan has it teed up. 17-3, the Bombers lead the Tigers. Danny Milligan. And Linnell Robinson into the end zone. Well, we saw a lot of that kickoffs into the end zones for touchbacks covering Ohio State's football team this year, Jim.
Yeah, Josh Houston did an outstanding job doing that, but I'll tell you what, there's some high school kids that can kick it deep too. Good job there.
Fourth time that Massillon will have had to start a drive on their 20-yard line tonight.
Yeah, their best starting drive was their own 24. So
that makes it tough.
Yeah, they haven't had good field position at all.
Robert Morris and Brian Gamble in the backfield with quarterback Bobby Huth. 17-3, St. Xavier with a lead. And Huth throwing on the run, caught by Van Ryzen. And he is forced out of bounds shy of the 30-yard line. Frank Moran, as well as Tim Fengel, make the stop of Zach Van Ryzen.
Van Ryzen picking up his 4th catch of the game. You know, the first half we talked about Bobby Huth, 7 of 10 throwing the football. They threw for a total of 70 yards, so they were much more effective throwing the football than they were rushing, just 33 yards on the ground.
Van Ryzen, a young man they said that almost wasn't going to come back and play his senior year. Now Brian Gamble. And Gamble hit and stopped. Negative play. St. Xavier again getting some great defense turned in.
They might give him forward progress, what, for maybe a yard, maybe 2 there.
Tim Fagel was in there to make the stop.
Set up about a 3rd and half yard.
Mike Hanlon assisting also. And as you said, Jim, 3rd and short. 2 for 7 is what the Tigers have done tonight on 3rd downs.
They were 40% for the year, so they're below that mark.
Ball is at the 29 on their own side of the field. Gamble.
Got it.
Yep, sure did. Gets piled up and stopped, but a first down secured.
Not by much, but he got it.
Brian Gamble, a junior, moved from wide receiver to running back, averaged over 6 yards per carry this season. A lot of colleges looking at his progress.
Got a nice block up front. And number 25, Quentin Nicholson, the fullback. And he falls in behind, picks up the first. So they need to get some points. They're behind. They got a first down to get it started here in a second.
Massillon just past their 30-yard line. Gamble in the backfield. Huth on an option-looking type play, but it's a bad option as he goes down right around his own 34-yard line. Alex Albright defensive end, scored a touchdown on a fumble recovery last week. Makes that tackle.
Yeah, it looked like Gamble might have been open outside. You see the option coming down the line of scrimmage here. He just don't want to chip it. He thought he might have had something inside. Gamble open to the outside.
So Fred Craig come in there to slow the play down to first, so Albright could make the stop. So second down, 8 to go for the Massillon Tigers. 10.5 to play, third quarter. 17-3. St. Xavier with a lead. However, Bobby Huth's going to work out of a shotgun. Gamble. Beg your pardon, it's Robinson, Lionel Robinson, who got the give. He squirms his way past the 35-yard line.
Like Kyle Meyer, number 52, getting up off that pile, defensive end. He's got 20 tackles for the year, senior. A lot of seniors for Xavier.
Yep.
They also, though, have some sophomores contributing and playing a lot.
Yep, young football team.
Craig, you know, he's a guy that got in there and played a lot. Nick Schneider, number 13, is a sophomore. He plays a lot.
3rd and 4 for Massillon at their own 37-yard line. Robinson just to the right of quarterback Bobby Huth. A little slow on that shotgun snap. Caught for the first down, however, as the Tigers are going to get the sticks to move. That grab was made by Perini.
Of course, all the Bombers are signaling incomplete pass, but Perini came up with the catch. Again, they'll move the chains.
Mike Perini, who does log a lot of time in the defensive secondary as well.
What, maybe that ball did come out on second buck here on the replay.
Maybe a break for the Massillon Tigers, who need a little turn of fortune right now, trailing 17-3. First down on their own side of the field, right around their own 44-yard line. And Bobby Huth, blue shirts all around Bobby Huth. And he puts that one in the air. Up for grabs and caught. Wells. Or Gamble, excuse me, made the catch as he got over Tim Fagle. And Gamble just presented himself as a target to his quarterback, Bobby Huth, 28 yards, first down.
Well, I tell you what, good adjustment here by Bobby Huth. It appears early he wants to go to the left to the tight end screen. Tight end's covered. He can't go to him. His second option is Gamble down the sideline. Throws it kind of up in the air for his receiver to make a play. Gamble goes up, makes the play, and hey, inside the 30.
Brian Gamble made that catch. One of a couple of receivers wide to the left. Perini wide right. Robinson in the backfield. First down, Massillon inside the 30 of St. X. And a flag thrown. Bobby Huth rolling.
I thought I heard a whistle.
Did you?
Yep.
Well, Bobby Huth just keeps moving. They're not stopping the play at all as Bobby Huth is brought down by Joe Ries. But a flag thrown right as that ball was snapped.
Like the ball hit the ground on the snap. You'll see the snap a little bit low. Huth goes down and gets it. That's where there was some confusion. Flag was thrown. So let's see what we got here.
Illegal motion on the offense.
Okay.
5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Thank you, Mr. Tom Graham. So that gets St. X off the hook.
So usually when it's on the offense, they blow it dead right away.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
And you said you thought you heard a whistle. So that is the second penalty of the night against Massillon. They had the first down.
Maybe they're waiting for another 15-yarder after something.
Maybe they're waiting for the snow, yeah.
That's what Bombers got a benefit of that early in the game.
So it's going to be 1st and 15 now for Massillon.
Huth had missed a pass here in the second half.
Ball at the St. X 34-yard line. And Bobby Huth and dishes that one off. Coming around the right side. Robinson, what a stick by Fred Craig. He T-boned him right in front of the St. X bench. Fred Craig, sophomore linebacker.
That didn't look like a sophomore right there.
No, he doesn't.
I tell you what, he came up and filled. Robinson, he's about 190 pounds. He's not a small guy. You'll see that pitch coming around the corner. Now watch number 7, sprint and run, and boom, hit. Drove him out of bounds. Good, clean, legal hit by the youngster,
yes.
Freddie Craig.
Ball at the 28 of St. X.
I don't miss that about football, right?
You don't, do you?
Not on that end of it, no.
Robinson in the backfield with quarterback Bobby Huth on second down for Massillon. Robinson picks up a blitzer. Now Bobby Huth in trouble, and he'll go down. Fumbled at the end of the play, and St. X has got it.
Ries.
The Bombers come up with a football. It was Joe Ries who came up with the ball as it was knocked away from Bobby Huth as he was about to go down. A 17-yard return for linebacker Joe Ries.
And the good fortune continues for the St. Xavier Bombers as they take over with a 17-3 lead and have the football at their own 44-yard line.
You can see there clearly the fumble. That ball spilled out before Huth down on the ground. Ries there to pick it up. Now the Tigers got to play some D.
They need to definitely play some D, and the Bombers looking to capitalize. 8:21 to play, third quarter here in the Division I championship game. 17-3. St. Xavier leads Massillon Washington. Darius Ashley behind blockers goes down at his 45-yard line. Darius Ashley. Emery Saunders, senior defensive end, with a stop.
Let's see how Xavier takes this approach here the second half. Got the 14-point lead.
Well, you mentioned they might not throw again.
Yeah, I mean, why? They were 1-10. Of course, that one went for a touchdown, so you got to keep looking for it. But kind of feeling like they like to keep the ball on the ground. They're rushing for 222 per game.
2nd and 9 for St. Xavier. Hobson and Ashley. I formation. Brad Scherer on the run. Dropped.
He had two guys open there.
Seth Robinson, the closest to it.
And Cionni, number 21, behind. And I thought Cionni thought he was going to catch it. And Robinson put his hands out there and kind of deflected for his own player. Again, play action, roll out. Two guys in the same area. You don't like that.
No, you don't. St. X 2 for 7 on third downs tonight, facing 3rd and 9.
1 of 11 on passing now.
Yep, ball at their own 45. And the Bombers with a 17-3 lead. Scherer on an option fake. Late pitch. Ashley. Live ball. Massillon looks like they may have come up with it.
It's right in front of the Tiger sidelines. We'll see who came up with that.
Yeah, they're winding the clock, so apparently St. X has come up with it.
Boy, Ashley, I guess, came up with that. Great athletic ability. This kind of an ill-advised pitch.
Yes, very late.
Way behind Ashley. Scherer might end up getting this. He did, number 3. The guy who pitched it, he was responsible. He went and found the handle and picked up that football right in front of the Tiger. That is a big field position change there.
Troy Ellis back to await the punt from Danny Milligan. You like seeing quarterbacks that go back and fight and try and make up for their mistakes here.
Yeah, I do.
And Milligan takes a good long run at this and gets off a pretty good punt. Ellis thrown down at his own 21-yard line as St. X gets that covered up. Nice play made by Frank Moran. 17-3. St. Xavier leads Massillon Washington. Division I championship game from Canton. Welcome back to Fawcett Stadium in Canton, Ohio. Paul Keels, Jim Lachey, Dave Chudowsky, and it is 17-3. Cincinnati St. Xavier leading Massillon Washington with under 7 minutes to play in the third quarter of the Division I championship game. Massillon with the football for the second time since halftime. Quarterback Bobby Huth under pressure, and that's an incomplete pass thrown as he tossed that ball out for Gamble, but he had to get rid of it because of defenders flying in his face.
Yeah, it's going to be. Here we're going to have to check out some of the strategy. Again, the field position, we talked about it last time. Xavier, they're starting at their own 35. Massillon, 15 yards back, just at their own 20. The way this game is starting to play out, I think Massillon obviously had more success throwing the football. That time they come with a 3-receiver set. The tailback spread out and try to throw the ball.
And Al Robinson at a halfback. Bobby Huth, junior quarterback. 14 for 20 last week passing. Looks to throw again. He's in trouble. Bobby Huth, big time trouble, and he just throws that ball, grabs, and it is caught at the 30-yard line by Mike Perini, who leapt up over top of Joe Ries to grab that ball. Mike Perini. It's still going to be third down, but a little shorter distance.
3rd and 1 to go here, but I tell you, Huth gets it. I thought he was trying to throw it out of bounds, get rid of that ball, but he saw Perini, the receiver, goes up over Brookbank and makes the catch.
So 3rd and 1.
I'm going to send in some extra tight ends, extra linemen. See Durkenhoff come in, number 99.
Quentin Richardson is in there. Gamble as well. 2 for 2 on 3rd and 1. It's Massillon R. Backs in the eye, wing back left. 3rd and 1. And Gamble. Oh, he might have slipped before he got to the line of scrimmage, Jim.
Tell you what, he didn't get it.
Joe Ries, the linebacker, came flying up there, but as Gamble looked to make a cut, footgear came out from under him.
He does not make it. Durkenhoff into the ball game, working against number 52, Nick Myers. Myers doing a good job driving him backwards. Gamble tried to cut and slipped and fell down.
Third 3-and-out drive for the Tigers. We were down on the field before the start. It is a little slick down there.
It is a little slick. This is that kind of Astro play surface, which is not the old Astro turf, and it's not grass, obviously.
Sean Wisen with a punt that takes a St. Xavier hop up near midfield. So the Bombers are going to have the ball with about 50 yards to go. About a 20-yard punt by Wisen. And under 6 minutes to play, 17-3. St. Xavier the lead in the football over Massillon.
Well, the Tiger defense now is going to have to step up and start making some plays.
Yeah, they're going to really need to make some big plays and keep the memories alive. Order a copy of tonight's game for just $19.95. You can see the game forever. Just visit OhioNewsNow.com. St. X first down from the 50. Darius Ashley bumps off a defender, and he may get it all. Darius Ashley, 50-yard touchdown run. Bumped off a defender and had clear sailing to the house.
Bumped off number 26, Brian Gamble, their second leading tackler. Tell you what, Ashley, only a sophomore, showing some speed. You'll see him here. He's going to come through this hole. You'll see 26 miss the tackle. Keedy bar the door. No one else touches him. Turns on the speed, gets down the sideline and into the house.
It has been a night of big plays for St. X. Darius Ashley, a 50-yard touchdown run. The point after by Milligan is good. Darius Ashley with his 26th rushing touchdown of the year, Jim. And St. Xavier leads Massillon 24-3.
Yeah, I tell you what, I talked about it, you know, how they're going to come out and react defensively. They needed to get a stop, they needed to make a big play. It went the other way. Xavier came out and made the big play. Ashley now has 93 yards rushing. 88 right up the middle of the field. I think I know where I'd run him. Right up the middle of the field. He's got all but 5 yards.
Incredible. His 26th rushing touchdown of the year to go along with 2 touchdown catches, and it is 24-3. Bombers ahead of the Tigers. And they may be starting to celebrate up on North Bend Hill.
Well, they got some time. They know that this team, Massillon Tigers, can score some points in a hurry. They had their backs against the wall last week against St. Ed and scored 14 points. So it's got to keep fighting on right now. But obviously, a lot of confidence here by the Bomber fans, and the players are starting to feel it.
Absolutely. A lot of folks made the 4-hour drive up from Hamilton County. We saw a lot of them on the freeway when we were driving up today. And
yeah, they made the trek.
But there are a lot of fans on the other side of the stadium wearing orange that have been supporting this Massillon team through a season that probably surprised a lot of folks after back-to-back 4 and 6 years. And the Tigers looking to try and come from behind. The Bombers looking to hang on to the momentum. Linnell Robinson returns the kick starting at the 5. And Robinson gets brought down just past his own 40-yard line. So a nice return by Linnell Robinson of 36 or so yards. So the Massillon Tigers will have not a short field to work with, but shorter than normal. Lewis Miller out there on special teams. So here comes Massillon's offense.
Well, I got to think they're going to try to keep it up in the air and make some plays. They have not run the football at all effectively in this game. They're going to win. They're going to have to pass their way to the victory.
Yep. Bobby Huth, Linnell Robinson. And Robinson grabbed by the shirt tail and taken down around his own 46-yard line.
Fred Craig, number 7 there again.
And Alex Albright helping, yeah. Tell you what, Fred Craig is a physical linebacker.
They got some impressive sophomores on this team. Boy, Craig, and then we just saw Ashley take it to the house.
Some of those coaches in the GCL worried about some of these young men for next year.
Yeah.
Second down for Massillon. About 6 yards to go. Bobby Huth is going to work out of the shotgun. Gamble in the backfield with him, but Huth looking to throw, and it is caught. Ball carrier Miller off the right flank gets the first down as he makes the grab before being tackled by Brookbank. Tre Miller, a junior.
Just a quick, almost hitch type play when you have your receivers spread out. They see the defenders off a little bit. He takes a couple steps on the route. Huth delivers a nice ball to him, and they pick up the first. I got a feeling they go back to that one again. That was pretty wide open.
Could be. 2 catches last week for Tre Miller, who will come to the bottom of the screen. Linnell Robinson in the backfield with Bobby Huth, who threw for 2 touchdowns last week and 230 yards passing. And Huth on first down. In the air, caught. Gamble bumped out of no. He's still alive and fumbles the football. Then it looked like Gamble may have tracked back down to get it. Right around the 41 of St. Xavier. Brian Gamble just about left the loaf on the rug.
Yeah, he's playing a little shaky right now. He's had 2 missed tackles, so far. He had one on that punt return that ended up going the second quarter, in the second quarter for a touchdown, and then that last one on Ashley catches this. Ball gets popped out. 10 Fago hits him, but got to credit Gamble for the hustle to get back on the pill.
Gamble slot to the right. Bobby Huth. Second down. 5 to go for Massillon in St. X territory. Robinson on the run, left side, first down. Bumped out of bounds. Linnell Robinson by corner Frank Moran. So fresh set of 4 for the Massillon Tigers.
Seeing more Robinson lined up in the backfield and Gamble lined up a wide receiver. That's kind of the way it was last year. Gamble was more of a wide receiver type. A lot of people from the Massillon think that he could be an all-state type wide receiver. They need him a tailback, and guess what? He rushed for over 1,500 yards to be there. But in this game, he's lining up a wide receiver and doing a good job.
Yep, there were a lot of those who were critical that thought Massillon had players in the wrong positions. Huth cranks and fires. Going for Miller in the end zone. Got it! Tre Miller waited for that ball to come down. He had to let a couple of defenders get by him, and Tre Miller with his 6th touchdown catch of the year. The 18th touchdown pass thrown by Bobby Huth on a 32-yarder. And Massillon still wants something to say about this game. They trail 24-9.
Good job there by Huth. You see Craig coming in, had pressure right away. Huth's able to avoid him. Throws it up between 2 defenders. Tre Miller, number 11, comes down with it.
32-yard touchdown pass. Bobby Huth to Tre Miller. Steve Schott to attempt the extra point for Massillon. And that one is good. Little issue there, but coaxed it through the uprights. So the Tigers trail 24-10 to St. Xavier, but Massillon, Jim, has regained maybe a touch of momentum.
Yeah, they did. They got some life back now. You can see it in their fans on their sidelines. There's some believing. Hey, we're only doing down 14. Oh, that's ironic. We were only down 14 last week. We won. So, yeah, Paul, that was a big play.
Let's check in on the sidelines with Dave Chudowsky.
Guys, shouldn't really be a surprise, though, that St. X is out to this big-time lead. I mean, they are battle-tested. Their schedule, one of the toughest in the entire outs on the season. They shut out State Power St. Ignatius. They shut out Columbus DeSales, who reached the Division III state championship game losing. And they also beat Cincinnati Colerain twice. One time was a shutout. They're the defending D1 champs. Guys, back to you.
No, you're right, Dave. An impressive start. They beat Colerain 7-0 in the opening game of the season at Paul Brown Stadium. Beat Indianapolis Cathedral, DeSales, Westerville North, Covington Catholic, and Kentucky. Shut out LaSalle. Shame to say they beat Cincinnati Mole in the last week of the regular season. Then in the playoffs, victories over Fairfield, Colerain, Huber Heights Wayne, and Hilliard Davidson. And another catch, and a fair catch waved for. On a short kick, Joe Ries fielded that ball for St. X.
Pretty much number 1 in the state.
They were number 2 in the Cincinnati Enquirer preseason poll.
Since they beat Colerain, they were number 1 the rest of the year.
Yes.
Number 9 nationally, I believe.
This is the 13th tournament appearance and the 4th in the finals for St. Xavier High School, Jesuit institution, 175-year-old school. And the Bombers will start this drive from their own 22-yard line, but lead it 24-10. Brad Scherer. Scherer sells the pass, takes off running, and he goes down. And again, another issue of
slip.
Yeah.
Tried to run on the side of his shoes. There's no cleats on the side of his shoes. Trying to make a nice cut there. Of course, if I saw big number 58, Antonio James coming, I might duck and hide too.
So it'll be 2nd and 9 for the St. Xavier Bombers. Jimmy Hobson, Darius Ashley, high formation. Senior quarterback Brad Scherer, option, keeps it. He's in trouble and he pays the price. As Scherer goes down.
He tried to come backside, but he had 2 big defensive linemen waiting for him. Number 90 Emery Sanders and 58 James again were sitting there backside. You see him, boom. Saunders gets on him, takes him down, and gets a TFL, tackle for loss.
Which makes it 3rd and 12 for St. X. Ball at their 20-yard line. Darius Ashley alone in the backfield. 2:48 to play, third quarter. And Ashley maneuvering. Ashley should have the first down and will get some bonus yardage as he goes down near his own 40-yard line. Darius Ashley has gone over 100 yards. Paris McCall brings him down, but he went spinning off defenders.
Yeah, you know, I mentioned coming out before this series that Ashley's had over 100 yards, but he had 93 yards, and 88 of those came right up the middle. Again, that play started right up the middle, cuts it to the outside, picks up a first down.
Of course, he got 50 on one run and a touchdown last time the Bombers had the football.
Kid's dangerous.
He is.
Good football player.
And running the ball like that makes the clock your ally if you're St. X and your enemy if you're Massillon. The Bombers at their own 36.
I've been big for the Tigers scoring and get a force of 3 and out.
Sure would have been.
That didn't happen.
Brad Scherer, senior quarterback. And Hobson will get a turn. And is fortunate to maybe get a yard. Jimmy Hobson, the fullback. As that one was stuffed up right up the middle.
Hobson doing a good job. You saw him both hands around that football.
Neil James brought him down.
Yeah, you know, seniors know how to protect that football. They've been around long enough. See him get the handoff, cover that thing up, running in there between those linemen and linebackers and defensive ends hitting him.
Just remind him he's there.
That's right.
So it'll be 2nd and 9 for the Bombers at their own 37. Darius Ashley once again, and again looked like he might have lost a little footing there, Jim. Robert Morris, linebacker for Massillon, makes contact with Darius Ashley.
Much like last time, they kind of penned him up in the first 2 downs, but then they let him go on the 3rd and long, and he picked up the first.
So to make it 3rd and long again, 3rd and 9 for St. Xavier. 24-10, the Bombers lead the Tigers.
Tell you what, even on a 1-yard gain, the kid shows some athletic ability. Balance, doesn't he?
Just trying to spin by people. We're near the 1-minute mark of the 3rd quarter. Cionni, wide right. McFarland, who's caught a touchdown, wide left. Scherer is in between Hobson and Ashley. Brad Scherer. Brad Scherer going to toss that ball high. Oh my goodness, where is a penalty flag? Thrown for Cionni, but some early contact put on Cionni as that ball was in the air. Ellis, the defender.
Yep, that's 2 third downs now. They had him 3rd and long, and they got out of it. One on a nice run by Ashley. This one on a penalty on Ellis. So that'll keep the ball in the Bombers' hands.
On the defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic.
And as Chris Cionni went for the ball, Troy Ellis made the play, and it looked like the play Massillon had made earlier in the half, Jim, where it appeared as though at first Scherer was throwing it out of bounds, but the receiver made a great leap to try and make a play on the ball.
Yeah, and then Ellis just came up and hit him way early, right in front of the Tigers sideline, and they all knew it.
They all knew it. So St. X to the 47 of the Massillon Tigers. 46 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. And it is 24-10. Bombers lead the Tigers. Scherer fakes a handoff, keeps it, gets some blocking, gets to the 40, and goes down inside the 40-yard line. The tackle is made by corner Neil James.
Scherer's getting close to 100 yards running the football.
Mentioned he averages 5.1 per carry and 463 yards all total coming into this game. And they're
going to measure this one.
Looks like they are, Jim. 38 seconds to play, 3rd quarter.
Chains are all the way on the other side of the field.
Over in front of the Massillon bench, and there you get a look at Brad Scherer and his mobility. And he maybe got banged up a little bit here, Jim. They may be looking at him, and looks like they may be trying to get somebody ready to come in and replace him. Their backup quarterback and the guy taking snaps is Brian Chase. 10 for 17 on the year, 75 yards passing and a touchdown. And the Bombers shy of the first down.
It's like the ankle might be a little gimpy. He's kind of hobbling around there on the sideline.
Brian Chase is a senior, and now Scherer is up and is trotting back out onto the field. This is a 6-play drive in the works for the Bombers, all rushing plays.
Yeah, you know, in this game, if it ain't hanging off, you ain't coming out. You know,
he's moving a little gingerly, but Brad Scherer shown he's a tough customer out there tonight. All of these players on both teams are giving it their all. So it will be for St. X. Second and, let's see, one marker says first down, the other says second. It is second down, one to go.
Yeah.
The marker in front of the Massillon bench says first. They've changed it to second down.
Scherer 10 rushes for 91 yards. That'll hurt you.
Yes, it will.
Ashley's got 17 for 110.
And then the officials now.
69 in this quarter.
Wow. Here's a look at the total rushing yards, and that's a lot of why St. Xavier's leading this game.
That's why the reason why they're 14-0. They've averaged 222 a game, so just a little bit above their average. And
Jim, both head coaches now out on the field wanting explanations from the officials. There's Tom Stacy, the Massillon coach, and Steve Speck, the St. X coach.
Yeah, and maybe they want an injury timeout. Maybe they don't think the quarterback was out. I don't know what they're talking about over there.
Well, second and one for St. X at the 37 of Massillon. Hobson, the fullback. And that's going to be tough to see whether or not he got it. Pushed right into the middle of the pile.
They had to get to about the, 41 and a half. I'm sorry, 37 and a half, 36 and a half.
About in that range, So, but they've got another down to try and get it too.
This is the old lineman will be talking.
Yeah, well, they
got hit in the head too many times.
Well, and all you know is to hit people with a different color shirt on.
That's right.
Well, apparently the indication is Massillon was upset. They thought Brad Scherer maybe should have sat out one play, and they did not get it. You're right.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought they were complaining about.
And fourth quarter will come right up with the third quarter having expired after 3. St. Xavier 24, Massillon 10. This is the Division I championship game on ONN. Start of the fourth quarter, Division I championship game here in Canton. St. Xavier with the football. Darius Ashley bumping his way ahead inside the 30 and taken down near the 25 of Massillon. His sophomore Darius Ashley. The Bombers with a 24-10 lead over the Tigers of Massillon Washington High School, and that's a lot of why they have that lead, the way they've run the ball, Jim.
Yeah, big 3rd and 1 there. They give it to Ashley. He runs through some tackles. You see him knock down Parrish McCall there. String of pearls behind him. A lot of white jerseys on the ground.
Andrew Daley finally stopped his trip. And St. Xavier first down at the 25 of Massillon.
Xavier's only completed 1 pass in this game, and that one's for a TD. The rest of it's been on the ground.
And Brad Scherer, who completed that pass, hands to Darius Ashley. Up the middle goes Ashley, still alive. Hangs onto the ball so far, goes down right around the 20-yard line as Darius Ashley has just hit that hole in a hurry, and not a lot that Massillon can do about it.
You know, it's amazing. You don't see, I think, sophomores, in games like this step up and make plays. A lot of teams don't have confidence that the youngsters can do it. Not this guy. He's been doing it all year long. It's going to be a special one to watch. And Paul, we've seen a lot of backs like him in the Big Ten have a lot of success. About 5'9". Of course, he's 170 now. He'll probably be about 190 by the time he graduates, putting on muscle and just growing.
Parrish McCall made that stop on Darius Ashley. 2nd down, 4 to go for St. Xavier. Ball inside the Massillon 20-yard line. Brad Scherer. And Scherer, after a fake to the fullback, keeps it himself, and he leans forward, getting maybe to about the 18-yard line, and Brad Scherer just caretaking the football.
Yeah, remember that ankle was a little gimpy. Looked like that might have affected him as he tried to cut. He looked like he pushed off and just went down on that play.
11 plays, all rushes in this drive, and Brad Scherer, guy that's been behind a lot of that.
Yeah, I really don't think they'll pass unless they absolutely need to.
Why?
Yeah.
Leading 24-10 St. Xavier. McFarland and Cionni wide to the left. Jimmy Hobson, Darius Ashley, I formation. Massillon's defense digs in. Brad Scherer in the St. Xavier offense. Darius Ashley trying to get wide. Football stripped away, and the Tigers have got it. And the Tigers may take it all the way the other way. And all the way down the sideline is Andrew Daley. Stripped it away from Darius Ashley. A return of more than 70 yards for a touchdown. Andrew Daley with a big play on defense. 76-yard return off of a strip steal for Andrew Daley, and it is 24-16.
I hope I didn't jinx the youngster. I told him they don't fumble much, but that time Daley, all Ohio defensive back, stripped him, takes it the other way, 76 yards. Brad Scherer giving chase. He gives up about the 10, and Daley gets in. We got a ball game.
Got a ball game. Steve Schott, the kicker, on to attempt the extra point for Massillon. Maybe that turns the momentum around. The kick by Schott is up and through the uprights. Andrew Daley. A 76-yard return after a strip steal. 24-17 is St. Xavier's lead, but Massillon now with a big dose of momentum.
And Xavier offense will be back out in the field again. So I guess the good thing is that Xavier defense will be rested up when they get out there again. But right now, Tigers are making some plays, some turnovers, staying in this game here in the second half.
Well, a reminder to stay tuned for our post-game coverage of the Division I championship game. Dan Decro and Jerry Rudzinski will be on hand to recap what happened here tonight, talk about what happened throughout the entire weekend of state football championship games. The ONN Championship Game Day Show. 14 unanswered points by the Massillon Tigers. Just when it looked like St. Xavier maybe had everything rolling their way, Massillon jumps up and is heard from.
We talked about this team never giving up. They've been in games like this before, been down 14 before, deep into the fourth quarter, and found ways to come back and get the win. They believe on the Tiger sideline.
Andrew Daley, a 76-yard return after a steal. Cionni for St. Xavier on the kick return effort, and Cionni with some room taken down near his own 35-yard line. Cionni, as he is stopped by Paris McCall on a 23-yard kick return. 24-17, St. Xavier the lead in the football, but Massillon not going away.
When you see the Tiger sidelines, the Tiger fans starting to get juiced again, starting to get excited. Everybody's cheering. It's going to get loud. And on the other hand, the Bombers fans not quite as loud as they were maybe 10 minutes ago.
Bobby Huth, a touchdown pass of 32 yards to Tre Miller and Andrew Daley. That score on defense has put Massillon back in it. And St. Xavier with a football. Hobson gets up near the 40-yard line.
There they had Hobson, the only back in the backfield, lined up at tailback. They took the tailback Ashley, walked him out at wide receiver. They're trying to spread the field a little bit, seeing if they can continue to run against this Tiger defense. They have been running well. Turnovers will cost them.
Probably had a few discussions too as Robert Morris made that stop about hanging on to the football.
Yeah.
9:17 on the fourth quarter clock. Now we have play stopped. The officials want to take a timeout.
We got a helmet issue again for Massillon. Looks like number 6, Paris McCall might be getting his adjusted over there.
Second team All-State linebacker. Paris McCall, a young man who after 6 games quit this team last year. And then when Tom Stacy took over, he joined back up again.
Get a clean slate. Sometimes they come back.
You look at St. Xavier and their rushing as opposed to their limited passing. Darius Ashley stood up. Robert Morris flings him down like a rag doll.
This might be where the confidence of the youngster might be getting tested a little bit. You see this offensive lineman, Max Ballman, another sophomore, talking to him, say, hey, keep your head up. We're going to be all right. You see him here running off to the left side, following his fullback. Perfect situation for Grizzard. Takes him down on the ground.
4 for 11 on third downs. St. Xavier tonight facing 3rd and 6. Ball is at the Bomber 40-yard line. Hobson and Ashley stacked in the eye behind quarterback Brad Scherer. And Scherer going to look to throw. Scherer eluding defenders, complete. And the receiver stopped just shy of the 50-yard line, and that pass caught by Mike Knuben, a junior tight end, enough to get St. X a first down.
Second completed pass of the game, a big one for a first down. Good job there by Brad Scherer, rolling out to his right, buying some extra time on his feet, and Knuben comes up with the catch.
Gamble in there to make the play. So St. Xavier near midfield. The clock is the Bombers' friend right now, nearing the 8-minute mark of the fourth quarter, 24-17. St. X with the lead. Offset I formation with Hobson and Darius Ashley, and it's Ashley carrying the mail. And Ashley spins, gets inside of Massillon territory near the 40, and near another first down. Darius Ashley running with a purpose.
Another missed tackle by Gamble. You know, All-State defensive back, running back, you would expect him to step up and make some of these tackles. You see him come through again. He breaks through out of Gamble's arms and picks up another 4 or 5 yards, setting up a 2nd and 1.
Andrew Daley finally brought him down. 7.5 and counting. 4th quarter. The Division I title at stake. 24-17 Bombers lead. Tigers, though, have scored 14 unanswered. Brad Scherer on 2nd and short. In the shotgun in Massillon territory. And Scherer keeps. And Scherer taken down for a loss on the play as Massillon is able to read that play, and it was Dirk Dickerhoof, senior defensive end, who tracked Brad Scherer down.
Look at it. Tackle for loss there. Had 8 coming in this ball game, something he's very familiar to do. So it goes from a 2nd and short to 3rd and 5 situation here. Xavier's converted a couple of these 3rd and longs. So a long course in this game.
McFarland and Ashley flanked to the left. Chris Cionni to the right. Hobson in the backfield. Brad Scherer on 3rd and 5 for St. X in the 46 of Massillon. Scherer looking. Scherer with some time. Losing some of that time and incomplete. Threw up the right sideline. Tried to squeeze that in. One of his receivers who was coming across the field, Canuvan, couldn't get it. And the Bombers will have to punt it away and play defense.
And Danny Milligan come into the ball game, the punter, and see if he can pin one inside the 20.
And remember, Danny Milligan has run, has thrown, has caught, has returned, as well as punted and kicked.
He's the Iron Man of special teams.
Averaging over 34 per punt tonight. Ellis is back for Massillon to receive the football. Milligan. Boy, he takes longer than most, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And that ball's going to take a roll favoring the Tigers up near their own 25-yard line. 6:17 to play, 4th quarter. 24-17. St. Xavier leads Massillon. We'll pause on ONN, Ohio's channel for high school sports. 6 minutes, 17 seconds until the Division I championship is decided. St. Xavier 24, Massillon 17, but the Tigers from Stark County have the football. Bobby Huth, the quarterback. And Bobby Huth rolling around, lets fling with the football, and it's intercepted by St. Xavier. Bobby Huth put that up for grabs, but he put it up where St. Xavier's John Salinger, was able to pick it off. His first interception of the year.
Yeah, that was the first time the Bombers defense has been out there, Paul, since the 3:49 mark of the 3rd quarter. 6:10 in the 4th quarter, and they were out there for one play. They get the stop.
John Salinger, junior safety, just dropped back and played center field. Wait on that football.
Now, who trying to make a play down the field, just kind of threw it up, hoping his receiver was going to make the play, and didn't get it done.
Poor choice. Brad Scherer had to run back to the sideline to get a play from the offense before trotting out. And St. X has the ball at their own 36. And the clock could be the Bombers' friend right now.
Yeah, you got to think they're going to keep on the ground.
24-17. Team in blue with a lead. First down from their own 36. Scherer fakes to Hobson, the fullback, and takes himself and steps up, gains maybe a yard or 2. Robert Morris, linebacker, brings him down.
Morris, good football player. One of the few guys going both ways for Massillon. Gamble goes both ways. Morris goes both ways. And kid makes some plays. Very athletic. Made a sure tackle there.
He sure did.
2nd and 10.
Yep, no gain, no loss for the Bombers. 5:42 and counting. Cionni and McFarland, the receivers you see at the top of your screen. Hobson and Ashley. Stacked to the eye. Brad Scherer taking his time getting set under center. Darius Ashley to the 40 and with authority runs over Gamble and picks up some yards there. Gets to about the 42 on the St. Xavier side.
And another nice block by number 69, Howard Patton, the right tackle. You see him running behind him. He's working against number 99, Dirk Doofenhoff. Does a good job lining up. Keeps his feet moving, sustains his block, and Ashley runs right by him.
3rd down, about 4 to go for St. Xavier.
141 now for Ashley.
Ball just between the 41 and the 42 on the Bomber side of the field. Ashley deployed as a receiver. Brad Scherer, the quarterback, in a shotgun on 3rd down. And Scherer on an all-out run. Scherer's going to get it. No, maybe about a yard shy now as we look at it.
Clock will stop, got out of bounds. Of course, the coaches there probably say, stay in bounds.
Ellis with a stop for Massillon, Washington.
About 4th and a half a yard.
What do you do, Coach Lachey?
I go. They're going to punt. Milligan's coming out.
That's why you're up here, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm a lineman.
Well,
I always want to go.
Yeah, understand.
I don't want to put the game in the defense's hands if you don't have to.
Troy Ellis, who made that stop, back to way to punt from Danny Milligan.
Milligan can do it all.
He can. 4th and 4, the down. Well, 4th and 1.
Yeah, he's punting.
They
didn't have time to get a fake in, I don't think.
Nope, ball at the 45 of St. Xavier, and Milligan gets this one off a little faster than he had. That one kind of caught a crosswind, it looked like. Hits off of a Massillon player, and St. X has fallen on the ball at Massillon's 30-yard line.
Looked like it hit off a
They're going to say it's Massillon's football, but that looked like it hit off the back of a Massillon player.
Neil James, number 24, I believe, Paul.
Now the officials are going to huddle up and talk about it. Once that hits a player on the return team, it's a free ball. And it did appear that it bounced off the back of one of the Massillon Tigers. You say it was James?
Yeah, it was number 24, Neil James, I believe. There, yeah, he's ducked. The ball hit off the back of him. That should be the Bombers' ball.
Well, the officiating crew huddled up.
Steve Schott over there halfway out in the field talking, or trying to hear what those officials are huddled up about.
At this spot, first down.
Oh.
He said it was what?
Did he say illegal touching or? I didn't pick that.
Yeah, didn't catch exactly what he said. Well, that could be pivotal because it certainly appeared that should be St. Xavier's ball.
That's what it appeared to me.
But Massillon has it now at their own 32. And again, we did not hear all of what Tom Graham said. If he said illegal touching, I don't know how it could be that because it
hit off the back of it.
It said it hit a St. Xavier player first, apparently. Bobby Huth fumbled snap, and Huth's just going to fall on the ball and save the possession. So again, apparently what happened was the ball hit a St. Xavier player first.
Boy, Tiger offense struggling. Last time the first play out, Huth threw the interception. This time he bobbles a shotgun snap, loses 5.
That's the 4th time that Massillon has recovered one of their own mishandlings of the football.
Still in the ball game, though.
Yes, they are. Linnell Robinson still in the backfield. It is 24-17. St. Xavier the lead. Massillon with the football and 4 minutes to play. Bobby Huth cranks and fires. Complete. Huffman. And Huffman
nice tackle.
Going to be stopped right around the 37-yard line.
Joe Ries again, number 20, sticking his nose in there, making the play. Huffman, a little bit bigger guy than Ries, but Ries hung on and took him down, limited him the gain right where he caught it.
Huffman, a tight end who was headed to Duke on a football scholarship. 3rd down for Massillon.
He must be smart, huh?
Apparently.
All the Xavier kids are smart from my understanding.
Well,
Tough
and the Massillon young men too. 3rd down. Got 4 to go.
Yeah, you're right.
This could be the game for Massillon. Robinson in the backfield with Huth. 3rd and 5 for the Tigers. And Bobby Huth in trouble. Fred Craig bounces off of it. Huth eludes Albright. Got another defender, throws, and that ball is batted incomplete from Tre Miller as St. Xavier's defense, and Frank Moran, who had a game-saving interception last week, makes a great break on the ball to bat it away from Tre Miller. It'd be 4th down for Massillon.
And Tom Stacy's got some guys huddled up over the sideline making a decision what he's going to do right now. Do I go for it backed up here, 4th and 5, or do I punt the ball away and maybe not get it again?
Well, the way St. Xavier's been running the football, it's 4th and 5, as you said, Jim. The ball at the 37, and Massillon will kick it away. 3:18 remaining in the 4th quarter. 24-17. St. Xavier with a lead. Brad Brookbank, who has returned one 71 yards for a touchdown already tonight, is back to await the kick from Wisen. And Wisen boots the grips off that baby. At the 15 is where Brad Brookbank gathers it in. Brad Brookbank gets a little bit of blocking, and he's going to go down just shy of his own 20-yard line. That punt return for a score, the first time that had ever happened in a Division I championship game. Let's go on down to the field to Dave Chudowsky.
Guys, you just got to think Massillon has used 8 of them. They got 1 more life yet in the 9 lives, because I'll tell you what, they got to make the stop here, and it all comes down to that play just before halftime. Brad Brookbank, 71 yards. Let's face it, if he doesn't return that as time expires, it's a tie ball game.
Yes, absolutely, Dave. You're right. The first time in the Division I championship game, and from our research, we understand that goes all the way back to 1972 when it was AAA rather than Division I, that there was a punt return for a score. Bombers at their 19-yard line. Brad Scherer feeds Darius Ashley, who takes it around right end and is taken down right around the 20-yard line. Darius Ashley, Paris McCall, and Brian Gamble in on the tackle.
Yeah, I got to think that Coach Speck told him, hey, hold on that football. You see Ashley running through, had both arms wrapped around that clock. Tiger's going to take a timeout here.
Yep, Tom Stacy, the Massillon Tigers head coach, will get his team gathered up. And what a season this has been for Massillon. Tom Stacy, we talked about how late he got started in this whole process and really needed to get this team back to playing some physical running football. And there are a lot of people who follow Massillon closely said that they really needed to improve the self-esteem of a lot of those players.
Yeah, you know, in the past, Massillon has been more of a spread time offense. You know, I go back to the days Justin Zwick there. I mean, he was there to spread it out and throw it. Kind of changed mentality a little bit. He wanted to become more of a pounding type team, more of a running team, although still keep some of that balance. And he's done a great job here in his first year making these young kids believe. And, you know, as you mentioned, sometimes when a coaching change comes, it gives some kids that, you know, maybe didn't think they were going to come back or didn't have a role, a clean slate. And that's happened for a couple of these Tiger kids who stepped up and made plays. We talked about Paris McCall. Quit halfway through last season, now been a big-time contributor, second-team All-Stater.
Great tradition at Massillon. We mentioned some of the names: Chris Spielman, Steve Luke, Denny Franklin, Willie Spencer, Craig Johnson, and the coaches that have been here: Earl Bruce, Bob Cummings, Lee Owens, Lee Tressel,
Paul Brown.
Paul Brown, yeah. Doesn't get any better than that. Whistles and flags. Paul Brown. My understanding, Paul Brown called Lee Owens to convince him to take the Massillon job.
We have encroachment on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
But St. Xavier, for many years, Tom Balaban, their head coach, back in the 70s and into the 80s. Tom Balaban, for those who know him, he is not only was a fantastic football coach, he was and there's a look at the Massillon coaches and some fantastic names. Tom Balaban combined coaching and a great sense of humor. Darius Ashley. And Darius Ashley on the move. He gets the first down, spilling past his own 30-yard line. He has more than atoned for that spinning up of the football that gave Massillon a touchdown.
Yeah, about 148, almost 150 yards for the evening for Ashley. A lot of those, 136 coming right up the middle, this time going to the left. Turns on the speed, turns the corner. Runs through a couple tackles there, drags some people with him, picks up the first, and that clock's ticking.
It is 2:40 and rolling. Antonio James made the tackle on that last play. 24-17, St. Xavier leads Massillon. Neither of these teams have ever won a state title in the playoff system. And Brad Scherer milking the clock, taking his time to snuggle under a center. Evan Winker. Ashley, little if any game. Trying to take it right up the middle. Robert Morris, another of the Massillon defenders in there, and Tom Stacy is going to burn another timeout with 2:21 on the fourth quarter clock.
He took his second, so he's got one left, but he's got to stop that clock right now. See if they can find a way to hold him here for 2 or 3 more downs.
Well, St. Xavier, 2001 in the championship finals right here. They lost to Cleveland St. Ignatius 37-6. In 1998 at Paul Brown Stadium in Massillon, lost to Canton McKinley 33-10. And in 1992 right here again, lost to St. Ignatius 24-14.
Yeah, in 2 of those games.
And there we get a look at the teams from Cincinnati. Elder with back-to-back state championships. The Coleraine Cardinals, the winners last year. Of course, the Moeller Crusaders own 7 state titles.
And Dominic Goodwin had the game of games last year, set the Division I rushing record. Mr. Simpson went up to Michigan. Dominic Goodman's playing for the University of Cincinnati. Originally committed to play basketball at Finland.
Yes, he did.
After that game, I think everybody in the state knew who Dominic Goodman football and went to the Bearcats.
Another young man named Terrell Bird playing for the Bearcats.
That's right.
2nd and 8.
They had brothers, the Bird brothers.
And his father played, I believe, there too. Dominic Goodman's father did. Darius Ashley still spinning around, taken down at his own 35-yard line, and a penalty flag thrown. Robert Morris finally finished the playoff.
I thought I might have saw a face mask. Let's see if they've seen anything like that. No, it's against the Bombers. A lot of those 130
line. He has more than atoned for that spinning up of the football that gave Massillon a touchdown.
Yeah, about 148, almost 150 yards for the evening for Ashley. A lot of those, 136 coming right up the middle, this time going to the left. Turns on the speed, turns the corner. Runs through a couple tackles there, drags some people with him, picks up the first, and that clock's ticking.
It is 2:40 and rolling. Antonio James made the tackle on that last play. 24-17, St. Xavier leads Massillon. Neither of these teams have ever won a state title in the playoff system. And Brad Scherer milking the clock, taking his time to snuggle under a center. Evan Winker. Ashley. Little, if any, gain. Trying to take it right up the middle. Robert Morris, another of the Massillon defenders in there, and Tom Stacy is going to burn another timeout with 2:21 on the fourth quarter clock.
He took his second, so he's got one left, but he's got to stop that clock right now. See if they can find a way to hold him here for 2 or 3 more downs.
Well, St. Xavier, 2001 in the championship finals right here. They lost to Cleveland St. Ignatius 37-6. In 1998 at Paul Brown Stadium in Massillon, lost to Canton McKinley 33-10. And in 1992 right here again, lost to St. Ignatius 24-14.
Yeah, in 2 of those games.
And there we get a look at the teams from Cincinnati. Elder with back-to-back state championships. The Coleraine Cardinals, the winners last year. Of course, the Moeller Crusaders own 7 state titles.
And Dominic Goodwin had the game of games last year, set the Division I rushing record. Mr. Simpson went up to Michigan. Dominic Goodman's playing for the University of Cincinnati. Originally committed to play basketball at Finland.
Yes, he did.
After that game, I think everybody in the state knew who Dominic Goodman football and went to the Bearcats.
Another young man named Terrell Bird playing for the Bearcats.
That's right.
2nd and 8.
They had brothers, the Bird brothers.
And his father played, I believe, there too. Dominic Goodman's father did. Darius Ashley still spinning around, taken down at his own 35-yard line, and a penalty flag thrown. Robert Morris finally finished the playoff.
I thought I might have saw a face mask. Let's see if they've seen anything like that. No, it's against the Bombers. What do they got?
Steve Specht upset over that.
Walking the back, it looks like.
2:11 on the fourth quarter clock. Well, St. Xavier, we talk about all of the things that have happened with state championships and whatnot, Jim. Get a look here.
Walk in the back on the offense. Decline.
So that'll make it 3rd down. St. Xavier is tied with Upper Arlington High School in Columbus for the most team state titles, 35.
Wow.
27 of those coming in swimming, including the last 7 years in a row. But right now, the biggest matter is a 3rd and 8 from their own 35 with less than 2 minutes to play, fourth quarter. 24-17, St. Xavier's lead over Massillon. Darius Ashley alone in the backfield. No longer. And Brad Scherer going to go on top. No, he won't. Brad Scherer going to run. Brad Scherer dives. Came up a little shy, trying to get the first down as he stepped inside the defenders. He also is going to keep the clock moving.
They're going to. Looks like they took their timeout.
Quentin Pollock came up to make sure he went no further. The officials are going to call for the change to come out.
Maybe that's it.
For a measurement. Now they're going to restart it, Jim.
Yep.
With a minute.
Now, see, he called a timeout.
Take a timeout.
Yep, the final timeout.
Massillon, the 3rd and final timeout.
So the clock stopped with 1:33 to play, fourth quarter. Brad Scherer really just tried to tough that out to get the first down, but smart young man, he made sure he went nowhere near the sideline either.
Yeah, he wanted to stay in bounds. He tried to do what he could to get it, but just came up a little bit short.
Well, the Ohio High School Athletic Association reminds you. The Ohio High School Athletic Association reminds you to respect the game. High school students and fans are reminded to play with pride because high school athletics are important and valuable to Ohio's teenagers.
They added 2 seconds to the clock. It was down to 1:33, now at 1:35. So they got Milligan in the huddle. So that tells me that they're probably going to punt this ball away. But got a lot of time to think about it, a lot of time to talk. If you ever want to do a fake, this would be a gutsy time to do it.
He's punted 5 times tonight, as long as 42.
Really, if you convert here, you can pretty much take a knee.
Yep. 20,257 the attendance tonight.
Good crowd.
Yes, very good crowd, and a loud vocal crowd on both sides of the field.
On a chilly December night, too.
It is just a little. Troy Ellis for Massillon, back to wake Danny Milligan's punt. 24-17, St. Xavier with the lead. Milligan. And now Ellis will get away from it. Decided to try and
back
block.
there a little bit, yeah.
And Massillon will have the ball at their own 25-yard line with 1:22 to play. 33-yard Danny Milligan punt. The St. Xavier defense, a group that has been solid all season. Shutout against Coleraine, against DeSales, against Covington Catholic, against LaSalle, against St. Ignatius, against Fairfield.
You know, both this offense and defense should be well rested. Bombers defense been on the sideline most of the second half. And so would we say the same thing about the Tiger offense?
Yep, the Tiger offense and Bobby Huth with Linnell Robinson in the backfield. Take over 1st and 10 at their own 25 with 1:22 left. Bobby Huth under pressure. Albright sacks him around the 16-yard line. Alex Albright just ran over a lineman to get to the quarterback.
Yeah, Brendan Smith, number 50, just put a nice inside move on him. That's what all Ohio players do. You see him come from the bottom of your screen, inside move.
That's why he's going to Boston College.
Yep.
2nd and 19 for Massillon. Bobby Huth, a flag down. Huth in trouble, taken down, and it's Albright again, who closed in on him from behind. Again, a penalty flag dropped, and Bobby Huth dropped hard and slow to get up.
He took a shot there.
Albright came in and dropped him from behind.
You know, I wonder if there's a legal procedure by Massillon. The flag was blown. I didn't hear any whistles. Maybe Albright might have lined up off sides on that play, but if that is the case, they should have been blowing those whistles.
Well, Bobby Huth is down and a little groggy.
You'll see the shot right here, helmet to helmet. Takes him down.
We also have a foul on the play. Illegal procedure on the offense. That's been declined. They're down.
Oh, goes from bad to worse for Massillon. And Bobby Huth having to be attended to. Sean Wisen, their punter, would be their backup.
I just don't know why they're not blowing that whistle on a legal procedure on the offense. Usually they come in, they stop it right away.
Yeah, I understand, Jim. And that's where you see players end up getting hurt.
Yeah. Again, I don't know if it's a hearing thing or what, but.
So Sean Wisen will come out with 51 seconds left in the game. The 3rd quarterback sack rung up by the St. Xavier defense tonight. Wisen, 51% completions this year, 395 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Most importantly, 3rd and 26 for Massillon. Backed up now to their own 9-yard line.
It's not a situation you want your backup quarterback in. Let's see what he can do.
Linnell Robinson in the backfield. Wisen rolling toward his goal line. Albright coming after him. Ball in the air. Up for grabs and intercepted. John Salinger with his 2nd pick of the game, and he's going to get some return yardage. He's going to get near the end zone and is finally taken out. John Salinger, junior safety, with his 2nd interception of the night. 35 yards of return for Salinger, and St. Xavier knocking on the door again with 32 seconds left in the game, and a team that has been solid all year on defense, Jim, comes up with a big pick here.
Yeah, Paul, they don't even have to score. All they got to do is take a knee. Tigers have 0 timeouts left. They cannot stop this clock. Looks like the state championship, barring some unforeseen thing happen here, is going down south to Cincinnati again.
Going to belong to the St. Xavier Bombers of the GCO. Their first ever state championship, while Massillon, for the 3rd time, will be denied a state title in a championship game. 24-17. St. Xavier. The ball and the lead. It is placed at the 3 of Massillon. Well, the Tigers rattled off 14 unanswered after the half to make it a game.
Yeah. Victory formation, Paul.
Yep, the genuflect offense. Brad Scherer will take all the time he can, takes a knee.
That's all we need to do.
Less than 30 seconds to play. The St. Xavier coach is keeping everybody on the sideline. And the clock rolling. 20 seconds to play.
That's it.
That's it. The St. Xavier Bombers in Cincinnati have won their first ever state football championship. And it's the 4th year in a row that the Division I title will return to Hamilton County. 24-17 the final score. St. Xavier defeats Massillon Washington for the Division I championship game here in Canton. Steve Specht and Tom Stacy meet one another to shake hands, but the championship belongs to the Bombers of St. Xavier High School in an impressive outing. They had all the momentum as the first half ended. They gave a lot of it back in the 3rd quarter, Jim, but down the stretch, St. Xavier made the plays when they needed to.
Yeah, I tell you what, and you know, Dave hit it best. You know, talking about that kick, punt return for a touchdown. Darius Ashley been named the MVP, 153 yards rushing and a TD. Sophomore made some big plays and stepped up on the biggest game of his career and grabbed the MVP. Congratulations, number 8.
Very young career, Darius Ashley. That touchdown was a 50-yard touchdown run that came right after a turnover.
And the St. Xavier Bombers have won their first ever championship. Let's go down to Dave Chudowsky.
Steve Speck, St. Xavier Bombers, Division I state champions. How does that sound?
Pretty damn good right now, I'll tell you that much. Wow, what a great game, and our kids.
The Gatorade shower.
Yeah.
I don't think he can beat that. Hey, Coach, how's that Gatorade taste? Is that the sweetest Gatorade you've ever had?
Oh, I'll tell you what. I love my kids. I love my coaching staff. I love my wife. I love everybody right now. What a great game. Shoot, it's been a tremendous journey, and these kids have. Nobody ever thought we could do this at the beginning of the year, and doggone it, they did it. And our coaching staff, once again, they come through with a tremendous game plan. I'm so doggone proud of my staff and my kids right now. I don't know what else to say.
How about the history with you here at this school? It's got to be that much more special.
You know, I just picked up where Steve Rasso left off. He built the program, and he just handed the keys to the car over to me, and I'm just riding the wave. I didn't build anything. I'm just a recipient of a lot of other people's hard work.
How about Cincinnati football? It's going back to the Queen City.
Yeah, I would have been taking a beating from a lot of Cincinnati guys if we didn't keep the trophy down south. And boy, right, and that doesn't happen to me very often.
And you're what, Coach? You got a lot of great on you. First state championship for St. Xavier. Congratulations, guys.
All right, Dave, the feast day of St. Francis Xavier, the patron saint of the school, and it was a good omen as the St. Xavier Bombers win their first ever football championship. They beat Massillon 24-17. We'll be back with more here on ONN, Ohio's channel for high school sports.
Reason for you to hang your head. You've had a tremendous season.
24-17, St. Xavier beats Massillon. Let's go down to the field for the presentations to both teams.
It's unbelievable to think that last year you were 4-6, and this year you're playing for the state title. You played hard, you played with a lot of class, and I know the people behind you in the black and orange are very, very proud of you. On behalf of the Ohio High School Athletic Association Board of Control and all of our member schools, we want to present you with the 2005 Division I State Runner-Up Trophy. Congratulations, Massillon!
Tom Stacy and the Massillon Tigers, the runners-up in the Division I championship game, and congratulations to Tom and his team. Has to be a disappointing moment, but an outstanding season for a team that many didn't figure would get this far.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, it's never easy, you know, being in a position like this, fighting all year long to get into the title game. That's been your goal, and then get there and then come up 7 points short. But, hey, these guys have been through a lot, and they've had some tough years last year, but they had a taste of it this year, and hopefully some of those youngsters can remember some of the sacrifices that it takes to get to this point and get here again.
Great football tradition. The Massillon fans this year in the playoff run had people lining the streets in Massillon to greet the buses, and they came back. Sure, they'll be doing that again tonight as they come up just a bit shy.
Yeah, that is always tough. You know, these fans have been great, following them all year long. You know, it's only an 8-mile bus ride home, so they're not going to have a whole lot of time to think about it, but it's just hard to say a whole lot when you come into this game and you don't get the victory.
Great community support. Tom Stacy, his first season as head coach at Massillon Washington High School. Now the presentation to Steve Speck and the St. Xavier Bombers, the Division I Ohio champions.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about those Bombers? What an incredible season that you've had. Undefeated, 15-0, and Division I state champs. Along with that, what an incredible fall you've had at St. Xavier. third in state golf, runner-up in state soccer, and now state champions in football. On behalf of the Ohio High School Athletic Association Board of Control and all of our member schools, we want to present St. Xavier High School the Division I 2005 State Championship Trophy. Congratulations, Bombers!
Steve Specht in his second year as head coach at St. Xavier, where he played. He was an all-GCL defensive back and assistant to Steve Rasso, his mentor. And he brings to North Bend Road the first ever football championship for the Bombers, their 36th team state title. St. Xavier beats Massillon 24-17. Back with more after this pause on ONN.
The weekend of champions has come to a close, and Cincinnati St. Xavier caps it off with its first state title in school history with a 24-17 win over Massillon in the Division I state championship game. Welcome back to ONN's Championship Game Day in front of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm Dan Decrow along with JJ and Jerry Rudzinski. It's been a tremendous weekend, 3 games Friday, 3 games Saturday, and we capped it off with a brilliant football game.
I'll tell you, it couldn't have gotten any better. I mean, it was a great game, 2 teams giving everything, and they left it all out there on the field.
Well, that's a remarkable performance this season by St. Xavier. They did it in the week 1 against Coleraine. They had to go through some tough playoff tests against Hilliard-Davidson and, of course, Coleraine again. And in the end, they pulled out a state championship, their first one ever. And Steve Specht, one of the most brilliant coaches I think you'll find this season.
Capping off that 15-0 season as the Division I title goes back to Cincinnati for a 4th straight year. Let's look back at this contest. Brad Scherer getting St. X rolling early in the first quarter, getting out of trouble and scrambling down to about the 10-yard line. That run would set up a Bombers field goal. Danny Milligan drills a 37-yarder, and St. X takes a 3-0 lead. Massillon would answer with a field goal of its own. Steve Schott knocks through a 44-yarder, and the game would be tied at 3. St. X looking to march the ball down the field, and the Bombers get something going with a little bit of a trick play. End around, it goes to Matt McFarland.
Washington defense pursuing a little bit too hard. They got him on the misdirection play. Key block by Chris Cionni.
It was a 17-yard run. Later on that drive, St. X converted a 4th and 1, and the drive was completed with Scherer finding Matt McFarland on the 16-yard touchdown, 10-3 St. X. Now with 8 seconds left, Steve Specht called a timeout to force Massillon to punt the football, giving St. X the leather one more time. And it turned out to be a beautiful coaching decision because Brad Brookbank took that punt back 72 yards for a touchdown, and instead of a 7-point lead, St. X went into the locker room up 17-3. Sometimes a coach makes a decision like that, and they're just hoping to get a lucky break. Steve Specht got it tonight.
Oh, he sure did. He went out there, and he actually had intentions of going for the block. And what happened was Brookbank caught the ball, and there were all